Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fuck with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. But need OG keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up from my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, man, we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, Bitcoin continues. Hang on one sec here, guys. Let me Sorry about that. Bitcoin continuing to consolidate here within our local volume profile, guys. The question is, are we going to get the bigger pullback to some of the key levels that we were looking at on last week's live stream on Friday, or are we going to be able to skirt on out of here prematurely? I'm going to break down the price action for you guys. We'll take a look at the key levels. We'll take a look at Market Cipher B and talk about the probabilities of potentially getting a pullback against potentially getting a surprise breakout to the upside. Now, as you guys know, we have been looking, as we've gotten that major breakout on Bitcoin, we've been looking at the possibility of potentially getting a bigger pullback in the worst case scenario, bringing us down to about $110,000 to $112,000. And no, if we got that move down there, guys, I would not be bearish. We have we have so many bullish signs on the chart, guys, not only on the Bitcoin chart, not only on Total 3, not only on Bitcoin dominance, not only on the traditional markets. We have so many things lining up here, and I want to talk about them today, indicating, again, my longer-term thesis of coming into the final stages of this bull market to finally see an alt season come in, guys. We have some pretty convincing evidence on the charts that we do have alt season coming around the corner. And if you guys watch me at to any capacity, you will know that I don't call for alt season every time we get altcoin pumps. But there are so many things lining up here on the chart, and I want to break it down for you guys and show you exactly what I'm looking at and what makes me feel like we are finally entering that final phase of the bull market where Bitcoin sends it into final new all-time highs. The altcoins follow very soonly after. Soonly? Is that a word? But yeah, we'll take a look at the charts, guys. And again, I will cover the key levels to the downside. We'll take a look at the local price action, the long-term moves, the case of the bigger pullback, the case of the surprise breakout. I'm going to have you guys prepared for any scenario here so you can catch a long or a short and make money trading Bitcoin, whether price goes up or down, because that's what we do here in the Candle Mafia. Shout out to Off-Grid Carnivore said, I'm scared. Shout out to Off-Grid. I know we are pulling back a little bit here, guys, but again, contextually here, we are kind of just ranging sideways. And yeah, hopefully I can give you guys a little bit of peace of mind here. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Perry, said, Frankie, you are the biggest mafioso from here. Salud, Frankie. Shout out to Perry. Welcome in, bro. Thank you for being here. We're hopefully break down some sauce for you guys tonight and give you a little bit of a clear view on what I'm expecting next. We got Hugo's in the chat. What is going on? Said, my small spot bag from when I started trading at the start of the year is back in profit. Let's go, Hugo's. Let's go, baby. We're starting to see some stuff moving. If you guys tuned in last week or A week before that, you guys will know we were looking at Solana to get a move potentially into its upper volume profile, and Solana is following right on track to what we looked for. Super exciting to see. We'll cover Ethereum. We'll cover the altcoins as well. Let's see. We got More Timer in the chat. Hey, long time no see. Welcome in, More Timer. Good to see you. He was in the premium live stream. Frankie, give me that gabagool. Shout out to DJ Meat Missile. That is like one of the most diabolical names. DJ Meat Missile, let's go, baby. We got the gabagool, we got the prosciutto, we got the galamad, we got everything for you, bro. We got the meatballs, the pasta, we got everything for you. But yeah, shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in, guys. Show Armand some love in the chat. We got Regular Guy Trade said, Frankie, here to start the week off right. POS moves this week. Shout out to Regular Guy Trades. Welcome in, bro. And yeah, we're gonna start off this week. Perfectly, guys. Because I'm not gonna lie. As you guys know, I don't just get bullish for no reason. I do get bullish when we have actual signs on the chart. And when you guys start to look at this stuff, it starts to look pretty dang nice. Frankie, XRP all-time high. Yeah, we're gonna cover XRP as well. But don't forget to smash the like button, guys. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some free chances to win some free crypto. We gave away $200 in Solana as well as a bunch of Cardano last week. Let's make this week another big giveaway. So smash up that like button if you appreciate the free content. Portfolio has cranked in the past 12 days. Yeah, shout out to Bison9. Things finally starting to crack into the green, guys, especially with Ethereum pumping. I do hold a lot of Ethereum, so that is very, very nice to see. But let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and stop. I'm going to stop yapping up here and give some real sauce. Let's get into it. All right, let's see here. Here we are on the Bitcoin chart. Let's see. Fresh cut. Shout out to Misha. Yes, I do have a fresh cut here. The hat hair is pretty crazy. I'm just kidding, guys. I don't get hat hair. This hair stays like this. It's actually cement. I actually put epoxy in my hair, so it literally never moves. I just go to the barber, and they fade me up, and this hair just stays the same. But yeah, let's go. We got a fresh fade. We got some fresh levels, and we got some fresh price action here, guys. So as you guys know, we have been looking at this volume profile for quite some time. As we've gotten the initial breakout here, I'm actually going to pull some of these levels off the chart. Oh, my God. Chat just went ballistic for a second. What the heck just happened? I think we just glitched. Chat just flew up like crazy. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Zach Leroy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, how much is this market going to be different because of leverage when it really wasn't around last cycle? Shout out to Zach. We had leverage last cycle for sure. You know, and leverage really, like, the one thing I will say with the leverage is you do just have to be careful, right? Especially on altcoins, right? I know this obviously is the Bitcoin chart, but you just have to be prepared, because I do think there are some people out there that just think that, you know, longing on a bunch of leverage, especially on the altcoins, like this is obviously a strategy. You can get a much bigger position size using some leverage, but we all know with leverage comes liquidation levels, right? So, you know, you do just have to be careful, because if we do get some kind of like a cascade of leverage, which does happen in bull markets sometimes, you know, we saw it happen right here when we broke these range lows. We had an absolute cascade, big liquidation event, etc. So you do just have to be careful, right? Like, the only thing I would really say about that is, like, sure, these can cause massive drops to the downside if you come out and stop out all the long positions. All that liquidity gets taken. When you get stopped out or liquidated out of a long position, it does create a market sell. So obviously that's where you get those big liquidations at. So you just have to be careful of that. That's why, you know, I'm not a huge fan of, you know, just like longing altcoins on a ton of leverage. I'm not going to say I never do it, you know, obviously, but you just have to be aware of that. Like, even on low leverage, sometimes if you can get those cascades, not everybody longs or shorts, you know, either way you're looking at it, with like reasonable leverage. A lot of people use super high dangerous levels of leverage, which could obviously, you know, give massive liquidation risks to the downside. But that wouldn't really, in my opinion, harm the long-term context of the cycle, right? And when we start looking at this stuff, guys, I'm not going to lie. We have so many things pointing to our long-term thesis being correct here. Obviously, there is a chance that it's wrong, but when we start looking at this, right, like, I have to actually give you guys evidence pieces. I'm not just bullish because we got to pump to the upside here, right? There are a lot of things that I'm looking at that are indicating much more upside. You know, more upside for Bitcoin, but obviously a lot of the opportunity is going to be in the altcoins, which obviously we will cover in a minute. But as we look here at Bitcoin, guys, obviously, as we've been looking at, we've gotten that big break to the upside, and we do have to be aware here, guys. We do have to be aware. I'm not saying that we have to pull back all the way to the $112,000 to $110,000 key level of support that we have down here on these structural highs. As you guys know, we've been talking about a potential pullback coming in here to maybe, you know, potentially, you know, speaking of washing out some leverage, we know quick moves up oftentimes does lead those degen traders to enter high leverage long positions, right? So their liquidity does sit below. If we do get that big push to the downside here, guys, I will be looking, you know, line in the sand for me personally, not for a bear market to come in, right? I wouldn't necessarily be calling like, oh my God, bear market. But, you know, if we do come back here, you know, once you get the breakout of that range, you know, sometimes you do like to come back down and retest the scene of the crime before putting in another higher low and higher high. This is where we compare this to the price action we excuse me, we had back here. Obviously a little bit of a longer term context, but you know, when we have those big moves up, right, you can get some kind of a leverage flush or some kind of just retracement to come back down and retest the highs before putting in a higher low and higher high. Obviously, that was our thesis. We did have that play out. And it is very similar here, just on a lower time frame, right? If we do get that big drop down, we do have some major key levels down here. If I pull up some MPOCs, you guys can see we do have a bit of support. Even if we do start cracking into that range, if I pull up our volume profile, you guys can see value area high sitting at about $110,000. And then you have these structural highs at about 112. And then you have daily MPOC, 2 daily MPOCs underneath the value area high. So, you know, if we did come down there, this would be a big key level of support that we've been looking at. So just be aware, right? If we do get that big move down, this actually does kind of ride down to about 108.5. You know, I wouldn't really be that panicked, right? If we do end up, you know, coming down here and retesting this as support, right? It could be very similar to what we've seen in the past, not only on the example I just showed you down here, but, you know, just also generally when you have breakouts of ranges like this, sometimes you do like to go back and retest that scene of the crime, as some people like to say, right? Just meaning the area where you got the big breakout. This would not be worrisome for me personally, right? If we did end up getting a little bit more of a rejection, let's assume that we break below the highs, we get stuck inside this value area, you know, we do have to be aware, right? If you do get accepted into this volume profile, right, we come down, get stuck under the value area high, we can't break out. It could lead to a move to the point of control, lose the point of control. We could come down to that value area low at about $104,000. And bringing up more of a macro context here, guys, you know, I don't want to like, I hate to create FOMO. I hate to create fear. That is never my goal, right? But based off the charts, if we pull up our macro volume profile that we have not looked at in a little while, as we've, you know, broken out, retested, and gotten the move to the upside. But as you guys know, right, like, if we start losing this range value area low that I just brought up, again, sitting at about 104,450, this does put us slightly at risk, and I would have to look at this as a potential opportunity. This is not my base case. I want to be very clear. This is not my base case, but if we did come down there and we're able to get stuck under that value area low and stuck below this value area high, and value area low, by that I mean this local value area low here, and again, there's going to be plenty of time to kind of cover the price action with you guys as we tap into these levels. So it's not just like, you know, this isn't the last time you're going to see me, but you know, if we do wind up getting stuck under that value area low, not only are we losing the value area low, but we're also potentially getting accepted into this major value area. And if we are unable to get a big rip on out of here, you know, this would be a very, very, very big level, as it has been in the past. You know, if you get accepted back below 105,634, right, this could be an opportunity to look for a bigger retracement down towards that infamous $97,000 level. And then if we want to fill that profile in full, it could wind up bringing us down to the value area low at 90K. Again, to be very, very clear, this is not my base case. This would be like a large hiccup in our long-term kind of context, right, our long-term thesis. But if you pull the Fibonacci retracements, right, like, again, this would not necessarily mean to me bear market, right, because there is still an opportunity to bounce off this Fibonacci retracement, golden pocket, value area low, daily MPOCs, you know, could be another area. It might just be like one of those bigger kind of corrections, scare everybody out of the market before finally sending it back up. Again, not my base case. I am not calling for this as of right now. I just want you guys to be aware of the context of everything and why I would not be worried with a bounce at the for a pullback for 112K. But at the end of the day, if you get stuck in there, right, it does eventually become more bearish, right? I'm not just going to say, you know, hey guys, I'm bullish forever. If we break down below key levels, I don't care. We're still going up, right? If we break these key levels, it could indicate a much bigger pullback. But again, even then, right, it might not necessarily mean bear market in my opinion, because you do have this golden pocket and even your 786 down here at $84,000. Again, to be very clear, not my base case. I just want to cover, you know, some of the bearish things as well, right? Because I never just like to create like random FOMO, right? So there you go. That's my context. This would be beautiful if we get the bigger pullback to put a higher low in at. If not, right, worst case scenario, you know, that would be very, very bearish, right? But again, we'll cross that bridge if and when we even have to deal with it. But I just wanted to kind of cover that before we just start covering all the bullish stuff, right? Because obviously the charts go up and down. There is a bullish case. There is a bearish case. And again, I am leaning more bullish here, obviously. But, you know, I have to bring up both cases because it would just be, I would not be doing anybody a service if I just covered the bullish case, right? So with that being said, I am more bullish, right? And again, you know, my base case would be, you know, worst case scenario, we come down and retest these highs. Now, coming into the lower time frames, I'll turn off the macro volume profile. And we could zoom in here to the 30-minute and pull back up our volume profile. Now, whoops, not this one. We got this one right here. This is just generally looked at as a volume profile, right? We did have the long position down here in the premium Discord. We rode that all the way up. We had the golden pocket retracement where we were looking at on the live stream for a potential lower high before potentially seeing a lower low come in, where we have our next major level of support, which is obviously much higher than those very, very scary levels that I just brought up. We do have the $115,000 daily MPOC golden pocket sitting down here. So if we are going to continue this, little trend, we are going to break, if we do break down below that low, golden pocket, daily MPOC. We also have some single prints down there. I'm not really going to cover those too much today, but this will be the next major key level of support. Not only do we have the golden pocket there, we also have the daily MPOC. So you do have some confluence in there, which is very, very nice. And then on top of that, right, you do obviously have the 786 sitting down there, which does bring this zone down to about $113,158. So this is going to be somewhat of a zone. We don't know if we're going to come down here and get a beautiful reaction off the golden pocket, or if we have to play around, maybe fill those single prints into the 786. But this zone is sitting between about 115,381 all the way down to 113,158. So, again, if we're not just going to hold this value area low and cook back to the upside, and we lose this, right, I will be looking to come down to that golden pocket 786. I do like the golden pocket a little bit better based off the confluence on that daily MPOC to be very clear. But you do want to remember that 786 is sitting at 113,185. Once we start losing that, guys, we're just simply looking down towards that bigger level of support I just brought up between 112 and 110K to retest these highs, right? You're already almost there. Lose the 786. Your next key level of support is obviously going to be sitting right here. Right. And then again, honorable mention, 108.5. I wouldn't mind if we do wind up coming down. We don't hold this. Maybe we just get a lower high, continue down. We don't hold the 786. A wick into this zone is okay. It's really the loss of that level. And again, if we do get down there, right, well, I'm simply going to bring up this volume profile. It's like, well, hey, we could play around here. Maybe we wick in, get back above. That's the higher low. If not, it's really the acceptance below this value area high and the inability to hold these daily MPOCs where I would be expecting a little bit more downside. So keep that in mind, right? Still pretty far away. And, another thing that could be pointing towards that bigger pullback is going to be the fact that we do have our daily money flow starting to cook to the downside here. We do have the money flow about to cross over the zero line. With that being said, VWAP is coming up. So, it is a little bit of a difficult situation up here because, in an aggressive uptrend like we've been in, there is an opportunity to not take the lows and just continue to push up, right? This is... can we get a fake out on the daily money flow? Yes. This is very hard to predict. So from a very binary standpoint, a logical standpoint, money flow is coming out on the daily. We would have to check that off as a bearish puzzle piece. However, right, as a trader with someone with a lot of market experience watching these charts for, dang near a decade, right? We do have to understand, in bullish scenarios, I've talked about this in the past, right? When you get those explosive moves to the upside, sometimes, you don't come to take the lows, right? You just kind of keep cooking. But, in this case, right, we had money flow crossing into the green, so it is anticipated. Here, you have money flow coming out. I would be aware of a potential fake out on that daily money flow, but it's not something I can necessarily trade based off of. So yeah, if we get that daily money flow crossover, that would also support a bigger pullback coming in. And then on top of that, right, I also cannot ignore the fact that we do also have another potential weekly bearish divergence forming here. We do have our higher high on price action with our lower high on our momentum waves. No, this does not, I know a lot of people have pointed towards the fact that, oh my God, this is another weekly bearish divergence. This is exactly what we saw in 2021. Higher highs, lower highs. We went into the bear market. Yes, it is a very similar signal, but people were also saying that back here when we had a weekly bearish divergence from this high all the way to this high, and then we had the lower highs on the momentum waves. And a lot of people asked me about this on the live stream. They said, Frankie, weekly bearish divergence. This is what called for the bear market in 2021. Are we going into the bear market? And you guys know I stood true in my sentiment for new all-time highs to come. But, not all weekly bear divs are created equal, right? With where we are in the cycle, with the potential rate cuts coming down the line, maybe this month, maybe in September, right? It just doesn't really make sense, in my opinion, to see the bull market just top out here. Is it impossible? No. But that's not my base case. That's not the camp that I fall in. But it is a weekly bear div, right? So just like this one was also a bearish signal, did we get a move down? Yes. Did it trigger the bear market? No. So just be aware of that, right? Just like another weekly bearish divergence could give it the bigger pullback. And again, even if we see that more aggressive pullback into the macro value area down towards 90K, right? That could also be a signal pointing towards that as well. But again, in this bullish scenario, I am going to remain bullish until I have a reason to look to those much lower levels. And I just gave you guys the line in the sand, which is going to be obviously the macro value area high right? Until we're coming down here and playing with that, I'm not expecting that big drop. So we'll see what that weekly bear div does, especially in an aggressive uptrend. Like maybe it just gives us a little consolidation, maybe another little drop down before a big move up. But I do have to point it out, right? Weekly bear div, and it's not just the fact that the momentum waves are forming a bear div, but you can see the VWAP is also attempting to come to the zero line. We still have some development there, but it is, potentially if that prints a red dot, I mean, at the end of the day, you're just going to have a weekly bear div. But again, would not be looking at that as the end of the bull market. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at, right? Short term, we'll see if we can come down to those next key levels. I am just holding my longs from lower here. I am also in a new scalp long here from the value area low. I don't really, to be honest with you, I don't really have high hopes for this. It's just like a little scalp as we push into the value area low. We do also have some medium time frame green dots printing. You have the green dot on the 1 hour printing. You have the 2 hour green dot looking to potentially print. But again, if you look at your money flow here, the reason I am not really that excited about this long position is the fact that, like, even if we come up to the POC, there is an opportunity to continue down based off your money flow indicating the longer term trend based off the 2 hour or whatever time frame you're looking at. In this case, the 2 hour, it could continue, excuse me, a little bit more of a downtrend, which lines up with that little bit more of a cool off to come into our bigger key levels of support. So I took a shot here. If it got stopped out for a small loss, no big deal. And yeah, we'll just approach the price action and gauge what's going on at these key levels as it all develops. Taking a look here, 16 hour. The one thing, right, that I'm looking at here, again, in a time like this, guys, it's very hard to say, like, are we going to have a situation where we do not take the lows like we saw happen, many times, anytime we get a big explosion to the upside, right? Are we going to be in a situation where we just squeeze up? It's very hard to call right here, right? If I were to look for something to point towards that, I have a 16-hour, VWAP is coming straight down here, but if we printed a green dot there, I will say, right, this looks like it could print a little bit of a bearish divergence. We do have a similar situation here on the daily. If we're going to kind of scoot on out here and potentially get another move to the upside without having to come visit these lower levels, this green dot, in my opinion, would probably have to be the thing that gives us the move. If we don't get it off that, I do think the correction's going to be, the deeper correction's going to be more probable, right? But if we get that green dot on the daily, right, if that 16-hour VWAP curves back up, if that 12-hour curves back up and we get the green dots, if we are going to form those bear divs, right, what does it call for? It calls for a break of structure to the upside where I will be targeting very specific levels to the upside, sitting between about $125,000 and $127,000. So if we get those green dots, maybe that long does continue to play out. My longs from lowers will play out even more. But if we are going to put in those daily bearish divergences, right, this would be the zone to look for between 125 and 127K. But right now, I'm just kind of letting things develop here. Like I said, I took that little scalp long here. We'll see if it plays out. I'm not like, wasn't a ton of confirmations here. Really what this was based off of was a little swing failure pattern that we had here of a local wick. We had the, actually draw this for you guys so you can kind of see it, right? We also came into the key level of support, which was that value area low. And if you guys watch this channel at all, you will know the volume profiles are typically what we look for these trades. Like I said, we were in the long position down here up to the value area high and beyond, and we got the rejection, back in, retested the value area high, back to the POC, back to the low, back to the POC, tried to go for the high, but we wound up coming back down and tapping it before another full rotation, came above the high, another full rotation. So this is just in the context of this volume profile, little scalp position. If I stop out of here, it's no big deal. But I just like to share with you guys what I'm doing. And we did get the little swing failure pattern here of this wick, right? Wick down below, closure above, and then you get the move back into your profile. So I will just be viewing this as a simple volume profile trade. If we do cook to the upside a little bit more here, maybe that 1 hour green dot confirms, maybe the 2 hour green dot prints, and I will be looking for a move up towards that point of control at about 118,323. Now, this is going to be an interesting level, right? Because once you get to that POC, if we pull some Fibonacci retracements here, you guys can see you do have a golden pocket very close to that point of control. And then if we pull to the lower high, you do have beautiful confluence here. So this is going to be a big level of resistance. If I do get that move up to the POC, I will be looking at this very, very closely because, again, if we are going to come down and crack these lows, this would be a big level to watch, in my opinion. So I will be taking some profits here, maybe even a little earlier, but if not, at the POC, golden pocket 786 confluence, in the case of coming down lower, just looking at that to make a little bit of money here while we wait for those longer-term major setups. This is a very low time frame scalp. So there you go. Let's see. The weekly shout out to Vegas Call said the weekly inverted hammer candle. Me no likey. Shout out to Vegas Claw. I see what you're looking at here, man. I do see it, right? Like I mean, this is much more of a doji. in my opinion, right? Like when you see these like very, very strong hammer candles, typically, right, like here, you have a big wick on the upside, very tiny wick on the lower end, right? Here it is somewhat similar. I would probably classify that a little bit more like a doji. You're not wrong for looking at it that way at all. But yeah, like even here, like you have a green candle, but you have a big wick on the top, little wick on the bottom. They don't play out 100% of the time. Yeah, I would probably classify that a little bit more as a doji candle, but I do see what you're saying, right? Like you do technically have a bigger wick on top, but you know, when we look at the current weekly candle, this is obviously still developing, so this could change very, very quickly. But yeah, I do see what you're saying there. I wouldn't say it's like the most like clear bearish hammer, but I do see what you're saying. You know, body is technically lower in the candle there. So you can look at it that way for sure. And then again, you know, you do have the weekly VWAP coming down. You do have other things pointing towards a bigger correction as well. But again, you know, could this be the top of the bull market? Yeah, maybe, right? Like, but that's not my stance, right? And we're gonna start looking at some stuff, and it's gonna start to become very clear to you guys why I feel this way. It's not just based off, oh my God, we broke the all-time high. I'm bullish, right? Not at all. So yeah, but shout out to Vegas Call. Definitely not wrong in seeing that. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Tor, says it's Ethereum time. Shout out to Tor. We're going to take a look at ETH, obviously continue to push up. Let's see. Bada boom. Bull market doors soon, I hope. Shout out to Nirvana. Yeah, has to be time now. Shout out to Jesse. Yeah, I hope so. And again, some of the stuff I'm going to show you today is going to be very, 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 very interesting. But let's continue on here, and we'll take a look at some of the altcoins. But as far as Bitcoin, guys, these are the local levels I'm looking at. If we are able to get down to these bigger levels, we'll see if we can catch those long positions, or if we have to endure a little bit more of a pullback to that 112 to 110K, or I guess technically 108K level. And then, you know, hopefully we don't have to endure like the massive pullback. This would be brutal, guys. This is like, if we wound up getting stuck back in here and having to go for like a much bigger correction, you know, man, this would be the worst thing possible for sentiment ever. But, you know, it is something that you have to be prepared for just in case it happens. But again, not my base case. You know, things are obviously a bit more bullish here just in general. So, yo, shout out to Dave Digital, says, happy birthday, Rob. Rob has a birthday every single day. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob, says, show ETH. Yes. So let's go. Solana's ready to rip. Shout out to Winchester. Some people like to call him Winchester Magnum, but shout out to you, man. Yeah, let's go ahead and jump in here. Now, before we jump into the altcoins, guys, obviously Ethereum pushing up above its all-time high, above its value area high, which, you know, again, if you guys watch, you all know, right? This is that move that we've been waiting for. We finally got the push up. And, you know, before we cover this, right, I do want to talk about some very, very big things popping up right now. And some of the things we've covered, right, we've taken a look at Total 3. Prepared everybody for this, right? We get the retest on the golden pocket. We have the low, the high, the higher low, and then we look for that break of structure to the upside. And if you're able to break that structure, you're also getting accepted into your value area low for a very likely fill of that range up to the POC and the value area high. We hit that POC. We've wicked up just about to that value area high. We have not physically tapped it just yet, but obviously, you know, this is a big, big, big sign, right? This is, you know, what we needed for altcoins to finally pump, right? We had this key level on the chart at 931.2 B. Big B, for a potential rip through this profile to see the altcoin start to pop. And what happens, right? We get up there. We see Ethereum start to crack up through its profile. Also, Solana, as we've been looking at for a very, very long time, not only looking at the retest of this golden pocket as a potential low, high, higher low for a break of structure to the upside. We literally looked at this last week, understanding that if you are going to continue that market structure, the break of structure to the upside would be very, very likely, breaking us into the doorway to higher prices, the value area low. Not only were we ready for that here, but we were also ready for it as we continue to the upside through this profile, right? Obviously, when you bounce off that value area low, you're going to look for the flip of the POC, push into the value area high. And then I even explained on Friday's live stream, right, between this golden pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement, you know, why am I not calling for a massive lower high and a lower low to come in? And it has everything to do with money flow. Your 2-day money flow is crossing into the green, indicating what? A continuation of the trend to the upside. This is why when I look at this retracement, I am not saying, right, oh my God, lower high is very likely. We're going to break structure to the downside. Even though oftentimes I do look at that, the context is very important. If we had 2-day money flow crossing into the red, that is where I'm looking for giga shorts at that Fibonacci retracement. But in this case, what we use this Fibonacci retracement for, other than the fact that, like, just because money flow is coming up doesn't mean you can't put in the lower high. But, again, probabilities are going to play out in your favor more than likely with money flow. But we look at that 786 as the doorway. Right? Because it's like, if you're even going to look for a lower high here, that 786 is the last line in the sand to put it in at. Once you flip it to support, the value area low is very likely above. And then once you get in there, you could start to cook through that profile. And again, even back here, right? We talked about if we could break into this profile, right? We can look for a potential flip of the value area low to support, in which case that makes the point of control at $216, the next major target. And here we are, right on time. We even looked at this little like wonky head and shoulders type formation, right? With the technical target into this value area. We've pulled this a million times, and here we are getting that push right into that level. So, again, you could see turbulence, maybe some pullbacks, right? But overall, now that we are above this value area low, if we can close some daily candles in here, I will be looking up towards the $216,000, Solana at $216,000, guys. No. I will be looking for that next major target to be the POC at $216. And again, before I get too deep into this stuff, I want to continue to cover some of this total 3, Bitcoin dominance, etc., right? Does that make sense? Right? Everybody wanted alt season in February, right? But why were we not looking at that? Well, very simply put, we were losing our value area low, and a lot of people might say, but Frankie, isn't that typically where you look for a reclaim and a fill of the range? Yes, but context is always going to be the most important thing. What did we also have as we were retesting this in a bearish manner? We had money flow on the higher time frame, such as the 2-day, cruising to the downside. Right? That's not what you want to see a massive rip up through the profile. What you want to see is the opposite of what we had here, which is money flow coming up and crossing into the green. What do we have on this approach, and why was I much more excited about this approach into the value area low for a full fill? And that had everything to do with the 2-day money flow. Right? Here, you see the continuation down because money flow indicates the longer-term trend. So when you have money flow coming out, lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows are the more likely situation. Avoiding a bad call for alt season. Right? It was on the chart. But here, not only did we hold the higher low on the golden pocket, which is where you want to see the higher low, but also you have the 2-day money flow doing exactly what you want to see for a big move up. And here we are. On top of that, we have Bitcoin dominance. Actually, I have it saved here. Bitcoin dominance continuing its drop below the POC to where? The value area low. And I actually have to change the color of this box to blue for support. But when you get that rejection from the 786, it was the same thing here, right? As we were in February 2025, not only was Total 3 having money flow coming out with a drop out of its volume profile or a bearish rejection on its volume profile, but we also had Bitcoin dominance coming up and reclaiming its value area low, making it very likely to come up towards that POC and potentially the 786 at about 66%. We literally pushed into the 66% level, and this was the best opportunity, if any, to get a massive drop on dominance. And this is a sizable drop on dominance now. When you first start to get the drop to the downside, you have the POC as support. We got a little bounce there, and then once we lost that POC, we were targeting this value area low down below. Can we get turbulence here? Potentially, right? Maybe you get a little bounce. Maybe you bing bong around a little bit. But if we can lose this value area low, guys, and when we look at the daily money flow crossing into the red, this would indicate that the trend, this is going in the right direction. Any bounce to the upside could be looked at as lackluster for lower highs and eventual lower lows. And once we start breaking down, guys, this is the exact same thing as I cover every single day on this live stream. This is what we looked at back here for a drop down on dominance, right? Or this is what we had happen, right? We get down to the full volume value area low, you bing bong around a little bit, but that money flow stays in the red, right? You could even see here, just to show you how the turbulence can kind of present itself. Money flow is coming out, right? It crosses into the red, but what happens? You bounce back in, you go to the POC, you bing bong around, but that money flow coming out indicates the lower high and lower low situation to break down out of that range. And once you lose that value area low, boom, altcoins explode. Alt season actually happens, and we are definitely in a scenario where that could potentially be the case. We're not quite there yet, but we are seeing this develop just as you would want to see. Total 3 ripping through its profile. Bitcoin dominance trying to lose its volume profile. This is exactly what we saw happen last time we were reclaiming this value area low, but obviously in the opposite direction. We say, be careful. Alt season probably not here. We're probably going up here. And at the same time, Total 3 was losing its volume profile. Now we have Bitcoin dominance dumping out of its profile and Total 3 ripping through its profile. This is very good. If we take a look at Total in general, when we look at this, new all-time high, or new final weekly candle closure here at a new all-time high. This is what you want to see for this final stage of the bull market that we have been long awaiting to see Bitcoin finally hit its all-time high and the altcoins start to pop, right? Then you start to pair this with potential rate cuts coming in, right? Whether it's this month or next month, you have rate cuts coming in, which oftentimes sends things into all-time highs. We also looked at the DXY recently in a very similar situation to this phase of the bull market. And if we take a look at the RTY, which is something that we look at from time to time, this is basically like the altcoin market for stocks, pretty much. They're like the 2,000 lower cap stocks. This is another condition that is typically met in alt seasons when you start to see this break out. And when we look at this from a technical perspective and we start to look at this as a volume profile up here, right, we can look at this and say, well, hey, what happens here? And people will tell you you can't use volume profiles on a chart like this, or total 3 or Bitcoin dominance, right? But if you cannot use volume profiles for Bitcoin dominance, I'm the luckiest person in the world, right? Like, is this just magic? I doubt it, right? But, for anybody who doesn't think that you can use these things on different types of charts, other than like a price chart, I will always hit you with that same argument. It's like, well, hey, just must be the luckiest person in the world. And when I have this luck, I am not going to change it until it stops working, right? But you guys can see here, we were bing-bonging around. This range was respected once again after we re-entered it, right? And now we're back in here. We broke above. We went to the POC. We could be looking to go to the value area high. And when we mark this out with our significant Fibonacci retracements, come on. Let's pull it to the low, right? So you have the golden pocket. We're above the golden pocket. That means, right, if you could stay above this golden pocket, the next likely place for price to go is going to be that 786. Same way within the profile. Once you get above the value area low, you look to go to the POC. You stay above the POC, you look to the value area high. So you have multiple levels of confluence up here for RTY to come up and tap this level. Now, again, could there be turbulence? Absolutely, right? Like, I wouldn't expect this to play out like so picture perfect that it's like super easy to navigate. But at the end of the day, we are starting to see those warning signs. If you can flip that 786, this is probably going to pop to the upside, which again is another indication or condition that has been met in all of the previous bull markets for the alt season to eventually take place. And then you just start to look at the fact that we finally have Ethereum ripping through its profile, putting in the high above its value area high at 35.25. And if we even take a look at like something like ETH BTC, obviously, this has come down to, we have not looked at this in forever. But one thing that we were looking at here, actually, I think I might have it still marked out here from a while ago. Right, we had this volume profile. And this is another big thing that we were looking at a while ago. We actually have not looked at this in forever, but you have this volume profile here, right? And it's like, we came down almost to the perfect value area low, and now we are getting a very nice rip back through this profile, attempting to crack above the POC, guys. This, in my opinion, is very bullish for Bitcoin, for Ethereum, right? So it's like so many things. Right? You start to see all this stuff line up, and it's like, well, hey, like the chances of history repeating here, in my opinion, are very, very high. So we'll see if we can get that continuation up through the profile on ETH BTC. But again, right, just the price chart on Ethereum is obviously doing exactly what we wanted it to do based off the technicals that we look at, right? Not because I'm just like I have some secret indicator or something like that. Not at all. We show this we talk about this and teach this every single weekday right here. But very nice to see, right? I would not be looking for a gigantic pullback on Ethereum, right? Could it happen? Sure. But at this point, right, like all the pain has been felt. Oh my God, Ethereum's dead. It's slow. It's expensive, which is all very true. I can't argue that. I'm not just going to stick to, Ethereum's the best thing ever. It has to pump. That's not what I look at, right? Sure, it's expensive. Sure, it's slow, or, people complain about ETH all the time. And like, but the mistake there is that they see that as a direct, they think that that's going to have a direct relationship on the price action, which is simply not the case, right? When we see Ethereum breaking down here, and we know that if we can impulse back up and get above this value area low, we know that fill of the volume profile is full. Doesn't matter if it's slow, doesn't matter if it's old, doesn't matter if there's better things out there, right? Doesn't mean the better things won't rip as well. But institutional interest in Ethereum, we have all like big money buying Ethereum, so it's not very likely that it's going to affect the price action, especially when the chart looks the way it does, right? We have the 2-day money flow crossover, all this stuff was pointing for this to get filled finally, and here we are, not only at the value area high but also above it. So could you get a big pullback? To look at this locally, I will say, I'll just give you like one big level to look at here on Ethereum. I would be watching if we get some kind of like really significant retracement, we could potentially look for a push into this value area high. We also have a weekly MPOC, the value area high, the daily MPOC. This is like a nice 3 level of confluence right there. And then if we dip below it, you do have another daily MPOC at about 34.35. So very similar to Bitcoin. If you want to come back down and retest the scene of the crime, the breakout of the range, this would be a big level to look at. It is sitting between 35.70 and 34.32. So that's kind of the biggest level of support to watch. But to be honest, right, like again, not just looking at Ethereum's chart, but also looking at dominance, also looking at total 3, also looking at the RTY, also looking at ETH BTC. Like this is bullish, guys. And this is why I like to say, ETH is not dead. Right? ETH is not dead. It might be slow, it might be, or it might be expensive. That's really what people complain about. But that does not mean that you're going to get these moves up. And that's when we say no one's going to be interested in Ethereum here. If you guys think that the second largest crypto based off market cap is going to go to 0, if you think it's going to 0, right, like this is a bad time to buy. But if you don't believe that, right, and you understand that just because it's expensive does not directly relate to the price action, which I fell victim to, right? People have faded ETH in the past for those exact same reasons. And guess what? The chart's still pumped, right? So I wasn't going to fall for that this time. But, when we're down here, we talk about like, unless you think ETH is going to 0, right? We are like literally like nearing bear market lows. Unless you think Ethereum's going to 0, like I don't know how much lower people want this to go, right? Like, and again, like once you get the pop to the upside, you flip this value area, boom, right? 2-day money flow crossover, fill the range. 2-day money flow crossover right here, fill the range. Money flow crossover into the red, fill the range. Right? So, when you see this all line up, this is not very shocking to see, and it's honestly very exciting. And then the ETH BTC chart has a lot of room to run as well. So I would still remain bullish on Ethereum. Again, like, is this the best entry? No. Well, that's why we bring it up when price is dumping, and I try to kind of like ease everybody's fears, when price is going down aggressively. I try to stop people from like getting, fear at the worst point, right? You want to buy the fear, not sell the fear. You want to buy the fear and then sell the greed. But I'm not taking profit on my Ethereum just yet. I do think all-time highs will come, especially if we see all these altcoin signals continuing to line up in the right direction. But I thought they said no alt season, Frankie. I know they said that. But, they are very oftentimes wrong. But again, could they be right this time? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe maybe a triple top, right? Quadruple top, right? And maybe it goes into a bear market. I don't know, right? Like, could be the case, but that is not the camp that I fall in. Because again, when you just look at the information, right, you might think to yourself like, this person's bullish, this person's bearish, right? But it's like, look at the information that they're watching, right? If they have reasons to say that it's going to go to 0, other than the fact that it's expensive, right? If they have reasons like, oh my God, this chart looks like garbage, whatever, right? There could be legit reasons to look for it to go lower. But again, they were just not on the chart. So that's why I love the charts, right? Because it keeps the emotion out, it keeps the bias out, right? It's like just as much as I wanted Ethereum to go up. Down here, if it looked like it was going to 0, I would call for it, right? Like, because, I don't want to hold my ETH either if I think it's going to 0, but obviously not the case is what we were looking at, right? Let's see. Shout out to Jesse. Said, I can't wait for Ethereum to fall again. Shout out to Jesse. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if ETH. It also would just be very, very crazy, in my opinion, to see ETH. Everything go into a bull market. Altcoins make new all-time highs, and then Ethereum just doesn't. Right? A lot of people who were saying that altcoins or Ethereum was going to die here, or Ethereum's never going back to all-time highs, whatever. This is at a point where like the Total 3 and like all these other charts are not pointing towards massive altcoin rallies, right? ETH is usually the leader, right? You have the big boys run. You have Ethereum, you have Solana, you have Chainlink, you have XRP, right? These are usually the first movers. So again, this is nice because it keeps a lot of opportunity open in the altcoins, because a lot of our altcoins, right? I mean, with the exception of a few of them, right? Farcoin starting to work its way out of the volume profile here. But a lot of these, Ondo also continuing to cruise through its profile as we've been looking at. Virtuals is approaching its value area low. We have a lot of stuff. There's there's Tau continuing to cruise through the profile here. What is this? This was on July 4th, right? So you push down into the value area low, you fill the range in full, you back test it as support, and again, the overall context here is to finally target that value area high. But if you keep on looking here, right, you have TARS still below its macro volume profile. You have INJ finally trying to get the breakout here. Link finally breaking up through its doorway to higher prices. You know, I bring this up and try to label it in a very simple manner. Like, this is the bing bong zone, guys. This is the doorway to higher prices. Eventually, when you get accepted in here, it is very likely that you start that bigger correction, or not correction, but that bigger continuation through the profile, eventually targeting the value area high of the range, which is pretty far away at this point, right? But it's very nice to see Chainlink start to break into its profile. This is stuff that we look at every single day. XRP, obviously, with the new all-time high. You know, you got Brett here still chilling below its, you know, local profile and its bigger profile. You have, you know, a lot of this stuff is in very similar situations, not only from a market cipher perspective with the 2-day money flow crossovers, but also with the macro situation of like being below their major profiles. If IOTX, for example, gets a big push to the upside and we start impulsing out of this lower range, where are we going to be anticipating price to go next? Very simply put, we are going to look to deviate below the low. Let me just draw this out. Deviate below the value area low. There's your deviation. You get back into the range. You look to go to the POC. You flip the POC, go to the high. Once you impulse out of this lower time frame or this lower range, price is going to gravitate towards the next area of balance, which sits right up here, starting at about 0.038. Flip this to support. Very likely scenario that you come fill this profile, especially if you see all these other things continuing to point in the right direction. It's not just that. It's also this chart in general, right? You have the 3-day money flow starting to cross into the green. You have the 2-day money flow crossing over into the green, right? This is still early here. This is still early. Let's hide that, right? Like, just coming down to a lot of this stuff. Like Atom, right? Still, obviously, do I expect Cosmos to make a new massive all-time high? Maybe not, but still very undervalued. If the alts run, typically this will get a move. Break above this value area low, there's your guide for where price is going to go. OP, same thing, right? Below its value area, once you start cracking above there, the boom boom room is above. Mana, this is something we looked at yesterday because it was testing its value area low, right? Once we get up here, right, this is resistance until proven otherwise, but once you crack this value area low in POC, what comes next? Very oftentimes, the fill of the volume profile. Same thing here. 2-day money flow crossover, right? I like to go in the past and show you guys how it's played out in the past because it's very similar oftentimes. You hit the value area low, you get a correction, right? But then once you get in here, flip the POC, fill the range. Same thing here. You get the move into the range. 2-day money flow crosses into the green, indicating the trend will likely continue to the upside. You get in the value area low, POC, flip the POC, 2-day money flow crossover. You do get a correction, right? So there's going to be noise. There's going to be corrections. There's going to be scary moments. Oh, my God, is this it? Is this it? Right? But the longer-term continuation through the profile is likely. Same thing here. 2-day money flow crossover. I actually already kind of got the rotation all the way through there. But again, you know, you're up there. You start to get back into your range. You bearishly retest. Money flow comes out. Rotation of the range. So this just, you know, this doesn't have to play out, but it's just, you know, the writing's on the wall. And we saw it play out perfectly on Ethereum, which is typically the first mover. So it's okay to see other altcoins not move just yet, right? It's okay. You know, when they say ETH is going to go to zero, it's like, it's okay. None of the conditions have been met where you would be expecting ETH to blast off into massive new all-time highs, right? But now it's starting to get a little bit closer to seeing that stuff happen. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Off-Grid Carnivore said, we're here for facts, not opinions. And there's the facts of what is on the chart. The opinion, right, of if that'll definitely play out or not, obviously it's a probability. Could it play out? I think it's definitely a higher probability, right? But a high probability is not 100%. So yes, absolutely. Facts, you know, I'm never just going to be here like, we have to pump, right? Like, just because I feel bullish, right? I always try and, like, this is why, you know, sometimes I run into some, sometimes people get like, you're like, come on, man, like, it's alt season, you idiot. And it's like, I don't know, man, like, look at total 3, look at the money flow, look at the volume profiles, right? And like, this is why I only make my decisions based off the charts, because there's a lot of noise out there. And, you know, heck, I mean, you know, if you're not looking at this stuff, you could be pretty, reputable, right? And you could still get faked out here. It's a very difficult thing to do, like, even with a lot of experience. But again, the charts just like, does that make sense, right? Like it's very, very clear. Money flow's coming out. That's not what you want for a big move. That's what you look for continuations down. But what do we have now? Low, high, higher low, money flow in the green. That's what you want for a big move up. Total market cap, making a new all-time high, closing that weekly candle above the previous. I mean, it's right on time here, right? Not only with what we've been looking for, but what we are hoping is going to be in the near future. There you go. All right, let's see. How is Sui looking? If you guys want to see your favorite altcoins, go ahead and drop them in the chat right now. Rob the Crypto Stomp account with the votes and let us know what we're looking at. All this is one more chance for non-believers to get it, or I keep buying more. Throw a rock at whatever, whatever it hits, gonna pump. Shout out to GZ. Yeah, that is generally what we typically see, right? It's like once that final alt season does hit, most things will pump. Rising tides lifts all ships. Sure, we're dealing with a more diluted altcoin market than we've ever seen before in the past. Does that mean there's no alt season? Absolutely not. I do think maybe it like changes a little bit, or you have to be a little bit more selective. But for the most part, that is what we see, right, in the past. All right, so let's see. Turbo, Doge. Yeah, we could take a look at Doge. I mean, we already took a look at Solana. I already broke that down, right? Obviously, just right along the plan here. Shout out to anybody who watches this channel. Hopefully you guys kind of see what we look for. And, again, like here we are, measured move finally, about to get hit, or, maybe it's already tapped, who knows? These things are never to the dollar, obviously. But again, general thought here, even not looking at that measured move is, well, hey, if we impulse out of this range, where are we likely to go? Likely to seek out the previous fair value, which is up here, doorway to higher prices, push into the value, POC at 216.90. Not too shabby. Taking a look at XRP, again, we're just still kind of hanging out up here. We did technically put in a new all-time high here at 367. But, any pullbacks here, it's like even if we get like major pullbacks, we have a lot of local support here to potentially put in higher lows. Even if we had to come back down in here, it's like, just my longer term context is definitely bullish, guys. It has much more to do with like the other charts other than the actual alt charts. The alt charts are just lining up with what we've seen in the total 3, the Bitcoin dominance, etc. Right? It's like, isn't it funny that when we looked at Bitcoin dominance, right, and I say this so you can continue to learn and apply this not only now, but also in like future cycles, right? It's like, what is this, June 22nd, right? Or let's say like June 18th, you start to like break above that POC and approach that 786. And it's like, this is the zone that we would look for and a big drop to the downside, which would be good for altcoins, right? This is not alt season, right, just yet, but it could be the start, right? But when we look at this, right, let's say June 18th, it's like you start to look at something like Ethereum. And it's like, well, hey, June 18th, it's like, well, hey, we're getting that correction to the downside. But if we are going to get that rejection on dominance, it's very likely going to be strong, right? We had the 2-day money flow crossover literally happen on June 8th. Right, so you get that 2-day money flow crossover. You're looking for higher lows and higher highs on Ethereum. And at that same point, Bitcoin dominance is also starting to trek its way up towards our key level of resistance. So when this rejects, Ethereum's going to go the opposite way. And that's exactly what we saw, right? And not only did Ethereum have the 2-day money flow crossover, but like pretty much every altcoin that is significant, right? Pepe, June 26th, 2-day money flow crossover. Cardano, 2-day money flow crossover July 12th. Farcoin has been in the 2-day money flow crossover. Ondo, 2-day money flow crossover around the same time. Virtuals, 2-day money flow crossover around the same time. Tau, 2-day money flow crossover originally happened over here in May, but then we faked out, crossed back into the green June 28th. TAI, right, this is still a little bit further below or just kind of lagging behind, but this is trending to the upside. If you get that crossover into the green, you might just be early there. INJ, 2-day money flow crossover. All these 2-day money flow crossovers have actually popped up, right? At the same time where you're seeing the bearish signs on dominance, you're starting to see bullish signs on altcoins, right? So it's like you're using one thing to find bearish signals that are typically bullish for the other charts. And then you look at those other charts and you're starting to see those bullish signals. It all lines up, right? We're not crazy. See, and it's starting to play out. But anyway, watch dominance bounce out of nowhere. Shout out to Vegas Call. Definitely possible, right? Like, I mean, if you wind up getting a bounce off this, maybe you reclaim this value area low. And then, again, context is very important, right? Like this would feel like a very massive bounce. Altcoins will probably get a big correction, but at the end of the day, right, just go into the past and see what's happened, right? You look here, it's like, hey, we got the drop down to the value area low. We went back to the POC, back to the low, back to the POC, back to the low, went for a lower high, massive meltdown, right? So just keep that in mind, right? You can definitely get that turbulence there that we've been talking about for a while. But yeah, if we do get it, expect corrections, right? Nothing's up in a straight line forever, but like in my opinion, this is the time to start paying attention. If you've ever wanted alt season, this is the time to look for it, right? Not as you're reclaiming value area low, but as you hit a key level and start losing key levels of support. And then once this breaks down, right, we would be anticipating something very similar to what happened in the past, right? Which would be, just massive, complete and total collapse of Bitcoin dominance. Something like that, right? I don't think we're coming all the way down there, but obviously, I'd probably expect, some support here on those structural highs. But something like that would not be the most out-of-pocket prediction. How long or how long this happens or how high we pump up, I mean, I wouldn't want to get back above the POC, right? Like at this point, if you're going to look for lower highs and lower lows, you would hope that you're not going to break back above that POC, right? Because that does open the door to higher levels on dominance. Pull from the high to the low here, and look at that, right? Like now you have beautiful confluence here. Now we have a new big level to look at on dominance, right? Because if you get a big bounce here, things start to correct. Boom. That could be your lower high, right on the POC. You start breaking the POC, you could look up higher for dominance, and once you break above that 786, you're probably looking to crack this high. So there you go. This sits, right on the POC between 63.84 and 64.83. That's weird. But yeah, that would be then, if we're going to see something similar happen to back here, it's like, well, hey, if you get the bounce off the value area low, where would you be looking at? Well, let's pull some of these fibs. You come back up and retest this level a few times, and it's like you just can't break through it, right? Money flow is coming into the red. That indicates the trend is going to continue down, but you do get that turbulence, right? But this would just as very similarly would be a very big level to look at, right? Your full retracement level from the absolute high was up here at the value area high. But, you don't have to reject that full retracement. You can go for the local ones as well. And the confluence on the POC would have been significant. You can test it, back down, lose the value area low, money flow nukes, and alt season happens. So there you go. Hopefully that makes sense. All right. Let's see. Now, the timing of all this, right? Like the timing and the way it happens is very difficult to predict. Like at the end of the day here, guys, like it is very hard to just like call exactly how this will happen. Like by this time, we'll be topped out. By this time, this day, right? That's much harder to call. But that's why I like to prepare people for that turbulence, right? Like you don't know how long it's going to take for Bitcoin dominance to bing bong around. So if you're looking for something on Ethereum, again, I would not necessarily look at, I would not be looking for like major dumps down here. If we get it, maybe we can get it. But at this point, by looking at all those other charts, like I would not be. Dominance goes down, altcoins go up, and Ethereum's starting to move here. It's like, I don't know, all stuff just lines up. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Dynamic Entry says alt season begins in September, rate cuts like November, rate cuts in 2024. Yeah, shout out to Dynamic. I like that's kind of how you can try to start to time this stuff, right? It's like, well, hey, if we get the rate cuts, this is typically where we see all that liquidity flow into the lower cap altcoins. That's where alt season happens. How quickly after the rate cuts does it happen is a little harder to call. But again, just giving general kind of, it's the same thing with like when we jump down to $75,000, right? It's like, well, obviously we were looking for that higher low right here for the break of structure of the upside, which we did get, very slightly here and then, more aggressively up here, which is obviously what we looked at. But, it's very hard to say, like, are you going to come up here for a big retracement and then come back up? Like, it's very hard to call the exact moves. But, I will say this. Volume profiles are kind of like cheating, right? Because it's like, well, hey, we know once we get above this value area low, we're going to fill that range in full very likely, right? And then break out, retest it, send it up higher. So, yeah, it's like very hard to call the exact timing. It's like I would never say like the new all-time high comes in on May 22nd. That's like impossible to kind of call. But, yeah. All right, let's continue on. This will be part of alt season where you can buy anything and get multiples. Get positioned before. Yeah, shout out to Off-Grid Carnivore. Again, I'm not here to create FOMO. I'm not telling you to, oh my God, rush and buy altcoins. But for me personally, guys, like a lot of the altcoins that I either want to get exposure to or maybe even like lower my entries down a little bit because obviously the altcoins got slammed for my original position. But, this is, again, I'm just here to point out what we're looking at. And volume profiles, higher low, higher high. It's just all here. It's just all here. So, yeah. I just try to avoid the irresponsibility of being like, definitely alt season, right? Again, because, like, even if I were to say definitely alt season, a little bit of a pullback, people are like, what the heck? I thought it was alt season. And it's like, zoom out, take a deep breath, and like look at the context of the long time frames, right? It's like the same thing here. It's like when I was saying no bear market. It's like people are like, how could you possibly say that? I'm like, well, you have to zoom out, right? It's like we haven't broken macro market structure yet, right? Like to come back down here and retest these highs is not only not out of the question, but it's like almost expected, right? Like nothing goes up in a straight line forever. So yeah, you come back down, you put in the higher low, higher high. But this is very hard to endure for a lot of people, even though we looked for this break of structure to wash out some of the leverage and come down to those Fibonacci levels. People still get super scared and call for the bear market. But it's like, this is where I say, like, deep breath. When in doubt, zoom out, right? Like, you have not broken down below macro structure. Like, there's really no reason to expect a bear market there. And what happens? You push into new all-time highs. So there you go. Let's see. I think the street have gotten enough of hearing they are stupid street that makes others money. Shout out to Tony. I don't know exactly what that means. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on in here. Shout out to Dave Digital. It says, Frankie, do not read this out loud. I will do it. Shout out to Dave Digital. He said that one chick stuck in the dishwasher. Now she's in a good position. Shout out to Dave Digital. I thought it was a dryer. Shout out to Dave Digital. Good Lord. All right, let's see. Shout out to Say It With Me. Sui says, Frankie, do you still hold a bag of Peak? How's the chart looking? Shout out to Say It With Me. I do still hold a bag of Peak. How is my bag looking? Not great. But let me just take a quick look here. I'm not going to do a full Peak analysis here. But, yeah, I mean, this thing, I mean, looking at the 2-day money flow, it's like it's trying to work its way up there. I still think, like, anything that you're looking at that you hold with conviction, I don't have a huge bag of Peak, right? I averaged in and, like, literally thought I caught the bottom here. I didn't buy all the way at the bottom, right? I was averaging in. I don't remember the exact prices, but it's like, I'm like, dang, I averaged in, and now we're starting to get a nice little bounce, and then it's like we just continue to nuke to the downside, right? But, 2-day money flow is, attempting to cruise to the upside here. Once you get that 2-day crossover is, very likely when you'll see that bigger long-term continuation to the upside. So you do still have a lot of work to do here. Your next key level on Peak is going to be the value area low sitting at 10 cents, right? Get above that. You have your POC just above at 11 cents. Fill the whole range at 13 cents. But at that point, right, if we're cooking in alt season at that point, right, like I would expect this thing to catch a move to the upside for sure, which we can cover next key levels to the upside when it becomes relevant and get rid of this fib. Daily MPOC still lives there. Daily level still there. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But as far as market cipher goes, it's very similar to everything else, right? Daily money flow attempting to come back to the upside. Your 2-day money flow crossover is what I would look at for the longer term continuation to the upside, right? It never looks bullish, right, until you get the crossover and the move up, right? Like Ethereum looked like trash. Actually, I don't know if I would say it looks like trash up here, right, because we got the early move into the value area. But, like when it's down here, it looks like really hopeless. But then it's like, hey, if you get the 2-day money flow crossover, the trend's probably going to continue up. But it's not until you get that crossover and the big move up that it starts to feel good. So there you go. Let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and check in on ADA. Let's see here. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, so yeah, Cardano just still trying to work itself out here. Let me pull up my object tree real quick. Let me just organize this. Okay, so yeah, we broke out of the range. We break out again. We get the retest right on the value area high. Again, as we've been looking at on Cardano for quite some time, pull from the high to the low. Golden pocket 786, this is the level that you do not want to break below, right? If you break below this 786, very likely you get a much bigger move through the profile. Well, we're holding that 786, trying to work our way up here. Just from what I can visually see on the chart here, we do have a little bit of value right here. I can almost guarantee you that is marked out somewhere. Okay, not marked out. But if we zoom out here to lower time frame, just to give you guys the higher time frame context, you have your low, your high, your higher low, your higher high, your higher low in the area where you want to put a higher low in at, even though this level was tapped 3 times. Unless there's no alt season, right? Where am I going to be looking? I'm simply going to be looking at this volume profile up here, right? This is a local volume profile. This is what we can use for some context, and you can see we are starting to break above it. Start to hold this as support, push up towards the POC, flip the POC value area high, and this is still, that's only at $1.15, right? At that point, you're still looking to come up into your bigger macro range, which would be this one right here. Right? We came in, we rejected the POC, tried to get it again, lost it. At this point, right, like not only are we breaking above into our local upper profile, which can give you an idea of like what price will look like on the way up here, right? Maybe you get a little honestly, this isn't even really that helpful. Because it's like all these key levels are very close to the bigger key levels, right? Value area low is very close to the key doorway to higher prices, which is the macro value area low. And then your value area high is very close to the POC. So to simplify things, you can't look at this for context on, where price is going to go next on the lower time frames. But, when you look at this, it's like, well, hey, get above this value area low at 89 cents, flip it to support. POC is very likely next. Flip that to support. You can start cruising your way to the upside. Hopefully price action doesn't go backwards like that. But you could target the value area high at $1.80. Start breaking out of there, you could, you're pretty much, you're right there. 314 at the all-time high, right? So at that point, it's like pull your macro Fibonacci retracement from the high to the low. Whoops. 786, value area high, golden pocket. At the end of the day, that 786 is your doorway to new all-time highs. So, longer term, again, can you get pulled back? Sure. But once you reclaim here, push above the POC, this is your doorway, $2.46. Once you get above this, I'm expecting all-time highs, pushing into 378 to 488. I know a lot of people are looking for a $5 ADA. I would say, it's your first major target to the upside within the zone, right? Again, are you going to top out at 370? Maybe. But, at the end of that, it's almost $5, right? And it's not that you can't go higher either. This is just the first major level to put an all-time high at, in my opinion. So that's what I'd be looking at. And again, I'm not going to cover this. Like, I'm just going to kind of scoot into Market Cipher B. If it looks the same as everything else with the daily money flow crossovers and the 2-day money flow crossovers, I'm not going to say anything, because they all look like this. Like almost everything is doing this. And again, tapping on the door. Tap, 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 break, boom. Get up here, bearish rejection. Probably look at a lower time frame and find the rejections, but we know this could be resistance until proven otherwise. We kind of just broke through here, to be quite honest. But sometimes, more often than not, you will get a little tap, a little correction. But once you get in there, fill the range, right? So, yeah. Let's see. God, shout out to Shunzin. No, don't say this to me, bro. He said, people at my work started talking about crypto for the first time. That reminded me when the last alt season started. September might be awesome. Yeah, shout out to Shunzin. It's like when it's the talk of the town, that's when we want to really start to get worried. I haven't gotten any text messages or anything from my top signals, but when I do, I will let you guys know. There are a couple people in particular that have sniped the top by asking me what to buy. And every time I try to tell them, they're like, hey, man, like everything's going ballistic. Like, I want to get rich quick. Like, what should I buy? And then I have to be the guy. And it's like, dude, I texted you and told you what I was doing. Not that you should ever follow what I do, but it's like, and when everything was scary, I told you, hey, I feel a responsibility to tell my friends and family, hey, I'm buying alts, I'm buying Bitcoin. But everyone's like, nah, I think it's going to go to zero. It's not until we go back up where they wind up hitting us up again. But yeah, let's see. So what do we got next? We got Dogecoin and we've got Sui. Shout out to Zach Leroy. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, in reference to the bull run, I think that's what that means. In ref to bull run, spot was bigger, and liquidation is bigger this time. Shout out to Zach. I guess that's in reference to your first super chat, which was what happens if there's a lot of leverage. But again, even with that, you just have to be careful of those like big liquidation flushes to the downside. That's really all I would say. I don't think it's like really going to change the long-term trajectory. It kind of changes the behavior. But yeah, I wouldn't really. I like the one thing I would say is like maybe we see like some kind of crazy liquidation, right? But we see crazy liquidations on Bitcoin all the time. Shout out to Fast Easy Cash. Thank you for the super chat. Says, hey Frankie, have you looked into IO? I have not. We can try to check that chart for you if you would like. At the end of the stream, I'll try to take a look at IO, assuming there's a chart, but I have not looked into it. Well, let's see here. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Shunzin said same, lol. They just started buying and they're telling me what to buy. Shout out to Shunzin. Yeah, it's crazy. When everybody's when everyone's trying to act like a it's really funny, man. It's like at the tops it's like, I got into crypto 3 weeks ago, but I'm telling you right now, this is the next one. And it's like, you can't just regurgitate what you see without understanding. And most of the time they're meme coins and most of the time they go to zero. But yeah, I mean, hey, Buy meme coins. You can make a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. I buy meme coins too, but you just got to be very careful. Why momentum waves are so sketchy on BTC from the 4-hour. Can you take a look? Shout out to Lusha. I mean, listen, sometimes when you're in a choppy situation like this or just inside into some like choppy price action, the momentum waves are just going to, I mean, look at this, right? Like this is, all this would really do for me is just like, you know, it's just like I mean, you got a little 4-hour bull div there. It's just a little bit unclear. But again, 4-hour money flow comes out, daily money flow coming out. Like, again, this is why I'm open towards the bigger correction down still. But yeah, I mean, you just get into situations where things are choppy. Sometimes you get like really nice, clean confirmations, right? Like beautiful 4-hour bull div here. But then sometimes like when you're in like specifically in like choppy price action, the momentum waves are just going to chop around. This is just, you know, this is just how it goes, right? Like even here, right? Momentum waves are all crazy. But yeah, it's just because you're in choppy price action. Like this up here has been very choppy. Although, you know, volume profile has been pretty respected, but, you know, it's still just generally choppy. Let me just take a look here. Let's pull up. Yeah, so my long, I believe, should be in profit at this point. Let me see. Am I logged in here? Yes. So here we go. So I am in this long position over on Femex, up 342. Not really a big deal. Like I said, I'm not really expecting a ton out of this position. Going to be very, very cautious with the way money flow looks. But again, you know, we came down to that value area low, saw the reclaim of a tap daily MPOC, and we got the push up. So, you know, even on these little moves, guys, there is still money to be had. Absolutely. But let's continue on here. We'll continue on with the alts. What the heck is going on in chat? But anyway, let's continue on here. Bada boom, bada bing. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. All right, so let's take a look at Dogecoin real quick. A lot of people want to see Dogecoin recently. So let's go ahead and jump into the chart. Obviously, we have checked in on this very, very often. Almost every stream I try to take a look at Doge. It is the king meme, obviously. But yeah, I mean, just contextually, value area low, that's your doorway to higher prices. Next target is going to be where? The POC of the range, right? We also bring up these local levels to try to help you guys understand where that turbulence might come in. And if you come on down to a lower time frame, right, you could see, well, hey, we got a little bang on the value area low, little bang on the value area low. You reclaim up to the value area high. You flip the POC to support, retest the value area high. And again, it is all just within the context of seeing the overall continuation to the POC. So once again, volume profiles prevail, getting you above that value area low and giving you that continuation into the point of control. Absolutely. I mean, I could take this off the chart now because we're already through that range. We already back tested it and hit that POC. But again, you could kind of see, right? Like I'm going to try to bring up less like just intricate, like super key levels because I think it just, you know, I'm going to save that stuff for the premium Discord because it's really just more for like low time frame, like active traders. But for this live stream, I think more people are just focused on the bigger targets. But it is kind of like boring because like once you get above this low, you are expecting a move to the POC. Just takes some time to get up there, right? It's like, how long did this take, right? Once we finally got the retest, it's like it winds up taking you about 14 days, right? But there you go. High probability target of the point of control of the range. Like if this does not tell you that you should be paying attention to volume profiles and looking at them to call high probability moves in the market, right? It's not just the volume profile either. If we had money flow crossing into the red on, say, the 2-day, right, or even here on the 12-hour, I would probably be more likely to look for lower highs and lower lows, right? For a high, a low, a lower high, and a lower low. But what do we have here? 2-day money, 12-hour money flow crossing into the green. Obviously, the 2-day also crossing into the green. Right, so what does this indicate to me? This indicates that the trend is likely to continue up, meaning the lower high is much less likely and rather just more of a doorway to higher prices. You flip that 786 and then you look for a break of structure to the upside, meaning this high right here. And you have your break of the 786. You're looking for that break of structure to the upside and you push right into that POC, especially when you have a major target like that above. So yeah, I mean, like a long term, I would say, you know, just looking at this, it's like, well, hey, I mean, you know, could you get turbulence at the weekly MPOC point of control confluence? Yes. Right. But at the end of the day, the bigger target is still that value area high. Like if you're a long-term investor, you're just looking to hold this into the bull market and make some more money. You know, at this point, right, as long as alt season's not canceled, as long as we don't see everything go to zero, chances are you're probably headed up towards that value area high, the range. So that's what I'm looking at. Other than that, market cipher just still looks 2-day daily money flow crossovers, you know, all in line here. You know, last week what we were looking at here was the daily money flow crossover on top of the 2-day money flow crossover being the big indication of the continuation up. But we have the daily money flow crossover, and you know what's 16 times the daily time frame? It's really basically the 2-week time frame, right? And we had that 2-week green dot printing, right? All these signals are called live on the live stream, right? 2-week green dot, daily money flow crossover into the green. Chances are we're going to continue up. And then boom, you get a nice little 45% ripped into the POC. There you go. Other than that, could you see some corrections here? I mean, you do technically have a 4-hour bear div confirmed, and you kind of just got another push to the upside. So if you do cool off, I mean, it's not impossible as you're at resistance, but, hold the PLC as support at 26 cents. You could just start cooking up towards those higher targets. You have a weekly MPOC at 32 cents, a weekly MPOC at 35 cents, and then finally the value area high at 38 cents. At that point, once you wind up breaking out of there, we can start to look at some Fibonacci extension targets for new all-time highs. You also have your golden pocket 786 up there, right? So even if we just go for a 786 golden pocket retracement, you're still looking at, a pretty considerable move to the upside, right? Another 50% move up. Again, does not have to happen like that, right? It could be a little bit of bing bong. It could be higher lows, but eventually that is the target to look at, in my opinion. So there you go. Let's see. Let's continue on here. Shout out to Captain Kirk in the chart, dropping the hats. Captain Kirk in the chat, dropping the hearts, not dropping the hats. Shout out to Captain Kirk. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well. I mean, I think I already said hi to you, but shout out to Cap. Shout out to Colin. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, TA on render, please. I'll try to take a look at render for you. No problemo. Just a quick reminder, guys. Super chats do not guarantee that we see your altcoin. It does help me see the chat. But yeah, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to look at every single altcoin. It would be absolutely physically impossible. But let's see. Okay, so let's take a quick look at SUI. Highly requested. Where's our SUI chart here? All right, so on SUI, what do we get here? When was this? When did this happen? Friday at 3 p.m. So I don't know if we looked at SUI on Friday, but last time we looked at this, right, we were simply looking for the Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high. You get the pullback into the golden pocket. I would say that's a nice higher low, right? You have your low, high, higher low. Could you break structure to the upside? It does look somewhat likely. You already got the rejection from the golden pocket, right? So you look at that as a resistance, right? You actually did get some bearish divergences here as well. You look for the cool off, but again, in the context of the higher time frames with alt season potentially looking to heat up, you're going to be looking for higher lows and higher highs. Where's that first area to look for the higher low? Between the golden pocket 786 in confluence with the POC. We dip on right into there. We tap that golden pocket, and we get the bounce. So right now, if you can get above that golden pocket, very likely that you get that breakage structure to the upside to push into your larger target, right? You look at the golden pocket as your first level of resistance. You get the cool off. But once you get above that golden pocket, you're going to be looking for that next target, which is the 786 Fibonacci retracement. Once you get above this POC and hold it as support, the next target is the value area high. The 786 and the value area high are confluent. That is your next major target. You've gotten above the low, push into the POC. You test it as support. You look to go to the high. I know it sounds too simple to be true, but yeah, I mean, they just follows track. So there you go. Other than that, high time frame situation remains exactly the same. 2-day money flow crossover, daily money flow crossover. Not going to cover that anymore. But yeah, VWAP coming up. If you can get that green money flow crossover on the daily, you already got the 2-week green dot, I believe. Yeah, that's already confirmed. Another thing to look at here, I don't have information on SUI, but another simple thing to look at here, guys, monthly green dot now printing on Cardano. Ondo, no information. Virtuals, no information. Tau, no information. TAI, no information. INJ, monthly green dot printing. We looked at these last week saying, hey, if we can print those monthly green dots, it's a better sign than any to see a continuation to the upside. Finally, the XRP monthly green dot. A lot of this stuff, right? Monthly green dot on Atom. Monthly green dot looking to print on OP. Compound looking to print a green dot on the monthly. I mean, these are just general simple signals to look for moves to the upside. You actually have a monthly red dot on Casper. Yikes. Looking for the monthly green dot on AIOZ. TIA doesn't have information. Polkadot monthly green dot looking to print. Peak, no information. Pengu, no information. SEI, no information. Bonk, no information. So again, just simple signals on market cipher B potentially pointing towards bigger moves to the upside. So there you go. All right. So that was Sui, and I cover this almost every single day, guys. Like I would love to, if I have them on the chart, I'll go over them. But you know, Sui we cover almost, you know, every time we look at Sui, we talk about the potential all-time highs. I mean, I guess as we approach here, maybe it makes sense to look at, right? So, you know, local levels break above, you know, I'd say 409. I'd be looking up towards the value area high at about 453 to 461. Once you crack that 786, that is your doorway into new all-time highs, right? So you have your fib here from the high to the low. So I'll pull up those extension levels and just bring up those next targets. You have your major zone here sitting between about 624 and 762. These would be the first major targets I would look at. Now, once we get up here a little bit, I could start to look at some more local targets that you might get turbulence on, but you crack that all-time high. I think 614 is the next big level to watch. That's what I would look at. All right, let's see. XRP, shout out to Perry. Yeah, I'll take a quick look at XRP. We already kind of did. There's not really much to update here, right? Like, we've gotten the breakout. We've gotten the new all-time high. I do think we will see a continued pump here in some form or fashion. If we get pullbacks, right, you have your 2-day red dot looking to print. If we get some kind of a pullback, I'm not going to cover all these local levels. I just think it's too intricate for the general public live stream. But at the end of the day, right, you have your anchored VWAP from the absolute low here coming in currently at about 281, right? So what I'd be looking for is, as we cool off here, looking for that anchored VWAP to come confluent with some of these levels. If we can get the confluence, I will be looking for higher lows and higher highs. If we break down below it, there is still an opportunity to come retest the range high. This would be a super scary correction for a lot of people. But again, like the context here, I don't think we'll have to come back down there. But if we do, I'm not necessarily calling bear market XRP to zero, right? I'm be looking for higher lows and higher highs. What is that based off of? It's based off of the 2-day money flow and many other things as well. If that money flow stays in the green, this red dot could give you an ebb or flow to the downside before a higher low and a higher high. If that money flow crosses into the red in a drastic way, then maybe we look at something different. But until then, right, any pullback has to be looked at as a higher low and a higher high. That's the context. Next major target to the upside really sits between 418 and 453 at these Fibonacci extension levels. That's what I would look at. Let's see. Okay, so let me take a quick look at IO. I don't know if I'm going to be... Will I be able to find a chart on this? Okay, beautiful. So I'm just going to give you... I'm not going to pull up like every single level here. I'm just going to give you like general... this is going to be like a hard, yeah. I mean, this would technically be a value area. Bada boom. Whoops. Let me even pull it to here. Yeah. Probably look at this like that, right? You have your low, your high, your deviation, back in, POC value area low, bearish retest, big breakdown. So these are the two major zones I would look at, two major ranges. Value area number 1 on IO sits between $6 at the value area low and $6, 60 cents at the value area low and 94 cents at the value area high. POC, right? So you could potentially look for the full rotation here. You got the full rotation down, tap of the value area low, POC, flip that, value area high. Once you break out of here, remember, price always seeks fair value. So if we impulse out of here, chances are price is going to gravitate towards the next doorway to higher prices, which sits at the value area low at $1.43. Once you flip that to support, you will be looking into the point of control at $1.73. And you will be looking, once you get above that, the next target would be the value area high at 296. You can get a lot of noise in between, but those would be the major things to look at, in my opinion. Now, if you pull your fib from the high to the low here, you can see your golden pocket 786 is somewhat confluent with this value area high. So I would say really the doorway, you have to be careful of resistance at that fib zone, right? But once you crack that 786 at $1.07, that is your invalidation of a lower high and a lower low, and you would be looking to break structure to the upside, targeting your value area low. Flip that to support, POC, flip that to support, value area high. That's what I would look at. 2-day money flow is crossing over into the green, so you have a lot of the market cipher B signals that I looked at on everything else. Daily money flow, kind of bing-bonging around here. Hopefully that can curve back to the upside. But yeah, you know, 2-day red dot prints, right? You're probably going to get another correction, right? But long term, that money flow stays in the green. Higher lows and higher highs are more likely. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on IO. We will take a look at render. Yeah, let's take a look at Crow real quick. Yeah, I mean, Let's take a look here. So when was this? This was Friday. We came up to tap the Golden Pocket. Is that a Golden Pocket? Yeah, Golden Pocket weekly MPOC. Literally like almost $1 rejection off that weekly MPOC. So yeah, I mean, we came up to the next major macro target, right? Like even here, you could see how choppy that the volume profile can be. But at the end of the day, you are still going to be looking for that rotation to be valid, right? So we came down to the value area low. Next stop was the POC. We got above the POC, back below the POC, back into the POC, back below the POC. We flipped it to support. Maybe now we can get the full rotation. But again, that's why the biggest level, once you're accepted into a profile, is going to be the value area low. You could even come down and retest the value area low before finally filling the profile. But when we look at this, right, we have the, this was our key level of support last time we looked at Crow. You had a weekly MPOC in the point of control of the range. I don't know exactly when we looked at this, but again, you know, you break above the POC, you hold it as support, you get the bigger break into your golden pocket. I would say right now, I'd still be looking at this as a zone. This weekly and monthly NPOC is going to be very, very important to watch. If you break above the golden pocket, eventually you can target the 786, just like flipping the POC would make you target the value area high. Those are confluent, so this is still the next, you know, last target within the profile would be about 15 cents. But you get a little resistance on the golden pocket. So locally, I would say, you know, break above this golden pocket. Sure, 786 is next, but this weekly and monthly MPOC might give you turbulence just because it's a weekly and a monthly. Those are two big high time frame resistances, right? So, you know, I would just say in general, you know, get above this purple box. You're already almost there, right? So it might be like a slow grind into the value area high. But again, that rotation does look like it is pretty much in store. 2-day money flow crossover into the green has happened. Red dot is incoming as well. So again, you know, any kind of correction, it would make sense, in my opinion, if we did get a correction, right? That would not be scary. It would be right on time with the 2-day red dot. But with that money flow coming up, higher lows and higher highs could be likely. Now, where would that support be that I would look for a bounce if we are lucky enough to get the correction? Well, we can look at the previous value area high, which let me unincorporate that. So you do have these structural highs at about 10 cents. Let's pull from the impulse to the high here. Yeah, I'm not going to give every intricate level. I'm just going to give you the major levels. Like the main level you really don't want to lose at this point is going to be the POC. If you get a big correction, you really want to hold that point of control. But for me personally, yeah, and you do have the golden pocket 786, so I'd even maybe make this a little bit bigger, right? Golden pocket 786. Even if you get a bigger cool off, right, you could potentially just come down to put in a higher low and then finally attack these targets if you can't do it from here. And I would say if you're going to get the bigger correction from here, we'll see if that 2-day red dot prints, because that might be the thing to look for. But again, trend would be likely to continue up, right? Money flow indicates the overall trend, not the ebbs or flows. Ebbs and flows are green dot, red dot, green dot. Money flow indicates trend. Does that make sense? So there you go. That's what I would look at on Crow. Right, let's see. I think Crow can be strong in this market. I agree. Shout out to Kadima, not Kadima Gratitude, not to be confused with Kadena, KDA, as we know it much better as its ticker symbol. Shout out to Kadima. I would agree with you. And again, the signs are there on the chart, right? Bada boom. Long-term continuation up. Pullbacks are potential or plausible, right? All right, let's see. And honestly, guys, this sentiment is going to be the same on like every single altcoin, right? So like anyone is like, oh my God, is this one about to pump? Is this one about to pump, right? Like chances are, like name an altcoin, the chart looks very similar, right? Like the only thing that would change are obviously the key levels and the context, right? You do have some coins that are lagging behind on their 2-day money flow crossovers. Let me see here. Like OP about to get the crossover. Mana just got the crossover, whereas, you know, Ethereum has had the crossover for a little while. Solana has had the crossover for a little while, right? But everything for the most part looks very similar as far as the altcoins go, right? They all have those 2-day money flow crossovers, with the exception of obviously a few. But there you go. Shout out to Act4. Thank you for the super chat. Said, Frankie, can we chart TARS AI lagging and not pumping? Yeah, we could take a look. Actually did cycle through this really quickly just to kind of look at the context, but I did not do the full TA. So where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Okay, so taking a look at TARS. Yeah, I mean, listen, it actually did cover this. you know, this is a good example of like, you know, some of them have not got the crossover, but look at the trend. Look at the trend to the upside, right? So as long as this continues cruising to the upside, daily money flow back in the red. Yeah, this is bing-bonging around a little bit. I would still be watching that major signal, right? Like there's never going to be like, unless this looks totally different where you have a massive 2-day money flow crossover into the green and you're about to cross into the red, that would be super bearish. I would be looking for lower lows. That's not what you have here. It is lagging behind on the 2-day money flow crossover, but it's just, you know, if you believe that this thing is going to hold up and get another pump to the upside, I would say the chart almost looks exactly the same. It's just lagging behind slightly. And honestly, like a lot of the altcoins that you might be lagging behind on with the 2-day money flow crossovers, these could potentially be like lucky opportunities, right, to jump in before the big pumps, right? Like a lot of the altcoins will pump and a lot of people miss the boat, but like if your altcoin is showing very similar signals to a lot of this other stuff, right? Like, I mean, even showing Ethereum, right? Like that money flow had been cruising to the upside for quite some time, right? And it's like, oh man, like, oh my God, we're dumping. Are we going to zero? Believe in the money flow. If that money flow crosses into the green, right? Not only do you have the money flow looking across into the green, but you could say, well, hey, if that green dot prints, could look for a 2-day bullish divergence, bearish divergence, which, you know, obviously we did get more of a cool off here. But again, money flow indicates the overall trend, not the ebbs and flows. Money flow is coming up. A lot of people would say like, what the heck? What the heck? I thought, well, hang on. Let me get the correction there. Oh my God, what the heck? I thought money flow was coming up. Like, why are we getting a dump? Like, money flow was wrong. It's like you have to really take a step back and have a little bit of patience here, right? It's like you even got to fake out into the green and then back into the red, which that's a little bit of a sticky situation, right? Because that is, and what happens here, right? I didn't even mean to do this, right? But you do get the 2-day bullish bearish divergence, which does call for a break of the high. We did get that. But what is a 2-day bearish divergence? It's a bearish reversal signal, right? Or at least a rejection signal. And what happens? You get the cool off, but it's like, unless this continues to tank to the upside, I even think we covered this, right? Like this would be a very high probability fake out into the red for a move back into the green. And why is that? We've already spent so much time in the red. Ethereum was down 66%, right? So it's like nothing goes down forever, just like nothing goes up forever. So it's like in this kind of situation specifically, it's like I would just personally anticipate this to be a fake out. I wouldn't necessarily, you know, it's not that like you don't take it into account at all, but it's like, I mean, hey, like, I don't know, just I think this is really where like trading discretion comes in, right? It's like I've seen so many situations like this a million times over a million different assets, and it's like, I mean, we've already spent all this time, and then you start to look at the macro environment, you start to look at dominance, all the other stuff that comes together cohesively to point towards like, this might be time for Ethereum to fill this range, right? And then obviously, you guys know, that was a little fake out into the red, and then once that money flow crosses back into the green, it's like, well, hey, what is money flow doing here? It is still trending to the upside, right? It is still trending to the upside. And then you get that continuation of the trend to higher prices. So like I really like to stress, you have to be aware that like these cool-offs can happen, but it doesn't change the macro context unless that 2-day money flow were to absolutely continue trending to the downside. So when it comes to something like TARS, where is it at, right? When it comes to something like TARS, it's like, you know, is this coming out a little bit? Yes, but like, could it still trend to the upside? I would say, you know, after this being, you know, it's a little easier on Ethereum because I genuinely thought it was super low probability that ETH didn't get a pump, right? TARS is a little bit different, I guess. But, you know, 154 days in the red, you know, this thing absolutely melted to the tune of, you know, 95%, right? So it's like, I mean, could it go to zero? Potentially, but I mean, at the end of the day, if you just keep getting these trends to the upside, you know, as long as this money flow generally trends, you know, any pullback is going to be looked at as a higher low and a higher high, in my opinion. And not only like it is, I guess, my opinion, but it's also based off the fact of what's on the chart and the fact that it is generally a higher probability outcome, not just my random opinion of I think this is going to pump. It's based off actual information. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to Golden. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Shout out to Golden. Golden with the 50 Frankie Candles membership. Smash that like button if you love Golden as much as we do. Golden, please, for the love of God, tell me you're back on that private jet, just dropping memberships from 30,000 feet, probably 40,000 feet in a private jet. Shout out to Golden. Drop those Golden emojis. Start that Golden waterfall in the chat. If you love Golden as much as we do, and if you got a free membership, start that Golden waterfall. Let's go, baby. Oh, somebody asked how to get the memberships. Yes, shout out to Jesse. Let's go. Our like police just coming in here with the help. You got to go into your YouTube settings and enable gifted memberships. Otherwise, you won't be able to get them. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Golden, bro. Trigger alert. Frankie, can you TA Trump? Shout out to Golden. Yes, absolutely. I can take a look at Trump for you, bro. Let's see here. We do have a Trump chart somewhere. Maybe I deleted it. Definitely possible. I'll try one more. There it is. Okay. So, hey, we haven't looked at Trump coin in quite some time. But, man, we're not going to have any high time frame information. 4-day VWAP, 5-day VWAP. 2-day money flow. I mean, I would still say this. Shout out to Golden. I mean, money flow's headed in the right direction, right? So I do think, right, like that 2-day red dot prints. I mean, this is obviously also a meme coin, so this thing could just, potentially explode out of nowhere. But, when we look at this 2-day money flow coming up, I mean, generally, you could potentially get a little bit more turbulence, but as long as that trends down or trends up, right, you can get a little higher low. If that crosses into the green, overall going to be looking for those higher prices. And we are approaching a key level of resistance, which we have been looking at, I assume, ever since we got the breakdown, right, because this is the only resistance really on the chart, and that is the value area low / POC of the range. This does sit between about 1234 and 1282. So, your goal here, local volume profile, I would say once you flip the POC, because the value area low and the POC are very close to each other. So, once you get above that POC, you can look for that push into the value area high. And, rather than the value area low being the doorway to higher prices, I probably would put it on that POC because they're so close, right? It's probably going to be a zone of resistance. You could get above that value area low, reject the POC, and then eventually come back up for the retest. The reclaim and the push back to higher prices. So I would say the POC at about 1287 is really the doorway into the 1461 value area high. And then at that point, you could start to look. It's going to be a little hard to pull any other kind of volume profile with the way that this kind of popped off. But we can go down to some lower time frames and find some higher targets there. For an honorable mention, really the only other profile I can look at would be sitting just above the one that we're sitting below right now. So these would be the two profiles. Number one, value area low at 1234, POC at 1283, and then the value area high at 1461. And then up here, you have your next kind of bigger value area, 1581 value area low, POC at 1721, and then your value area high at 2019. So that is what I would be looking at on Trump coin. And then again, looking at that 2-day money flow, it's lagging behind a little bit. And again, this is a meme coin, so it might respect the TA a little differently, but I would say this is trending to the upside, which is the same thing that we saw on a lot of this other stuff before they started getting pops to the upside, right? 2-day money flow crossover comes up, fakes out into the green, you get a little correction, but again, overall, the trend continues up. You fake out back into the red, but eventually you do come back into the green. So, you could get the correction, but that 2-day money flow crossover is probably going to be what I'd look for to start the bigger macro move to the upside on Trump coin. So there you go. That's what I would look at on TRUMP. There you go. Let's see. Dave Digital dropping the Bitcoin jack-o'-lanterns. That's one of my favorite emojis that we have. Let's see. Oh, shout out to Golden said, I'm not serious. I was just messing with everyone. Well, shout out to Golden, anybody who's in Trump coin. There's the legit TA. Shout out to Golden. I was expecting you to be like, I'm gonna move this thing. I'm a dump into this thing, and I'm gonna rip it to the upside. Let's see. XLM. Yes, we could take a look at XLM, and then we'll take a look at render. That's not what I wanted. XLM. Come on down to a lower time frames. What do we got here? Yeah, so XLM just still bing-bonging around these two volume profiles. Again, if you have not watched the tutorial videos on the volume profiles, guys, please, for the love of God, do it. Please, for the love of God, this is the thing to look at. You reclaim value area low, POC right up to the value area high. Now we're attempting to retest the value area low, If we, and I'm not going to lie, this does look like some kind of bullish consolidation. This does not mean it can't break down, but in the case of a push to the upside, the value area low or the doorway to higher prices is going to be or I'll say the boom room is sitting right up here at 49 to 50 cents. Or let's call it 50 cents for the easy math. Right. Once you've reclaimed this, you look to shoot up to where? Somebody put it in the chat. Shout out to Shout out to Dave Digital. He said POC, and there we are. There is that next target. And again, it is confluent with the golden pocket. 786 is confluent with the value area high. So I would say if this is going to continue cooking to the upside, you know, this could be the flip of the value area low for the move into the POC and potentially the value area high, which would be from where we are right now a beautiful 58% move to the upside. Money flow, market cipher B signal is exactly the same. Your 2-day red dot is printing. So again, you might just kind of consolidate in here before getting the flip. But if you do, right, key support down below, if you do lose that value area high, I would have to say, let me pull up an anchored VWAP here real quick. Whoops. Yeah, I would have to say this fib remains the same. Golden pocket POC confluence. You know, this sits at about 36 to 33 cents. This is a big level. I don't know, right? Like if you get accepted into this range, that could be something that you look for to retest the POC before another bounce. I just don't know if you're going to get there, right? So just be aware that you do have key support here at the value area high at 44 cents. So if you lose 44 cents and can't reclaim it, you could be moving your way down towards the golden pocket POC anchored VWAP, but I would call it between about, 36 and 33 cents. You can also watch this other anchored VWAP from the low here. I'm actually going to pull this from the impulse. Let me change this. You know what? I'll keep it here. Let me just see what it looks like here from the impulse. Yeah, I mean, that's probably going to be, if you do come down, it's going to be confluent with the value area high. So I would just be more inclined to watch this if you go lower. So I would say key supports to watch here. Value area high, 44 cents. Lose that. Watch between 41 and 38 cents. Once you lose that, you're just looking down towards the POC of the range. Again, I don't want to give too many levels here on the live stream. Just because, just gets super nitty gritty. But like lose this. Get the push down to the get the push down to the anchored VWAPs or the POC. But again, like at the end of the day, guys, like this is not something I'd be worried about, at least as of right now. Especially with something like XLM. This isn't like some kind of like a garbage coin or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, especially if XRP keeps ripping, we could very easily see this continue up as well. So there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on XLM. Like number one, smash that. Like number one, smash the like now to at least 800. We must be able to do that. Otherwise, I will be disappointed. Shout out to Jesse. Let's go, baby. Smash that like button if you have not already. And Golden with another 50 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Golden. Let us know, bro. Are you on a private jet? Because every time you drop these memberships, I just picture like what you sent me in Discord is just like you kicked back in the jet. Just bless the mafia. Bless the mafia. Shout out to Golden, bro. We appreciate you so much. And I always joke about Golden being in the private jet, dropping memberships. And I can now say he legitimately does that, guys. There's literal proof. Let's see. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. Thank you for the super chat. Says, y'all better smash the like button. There's less than 40. There's no way we have 40 likes. Oh, my God. Oh, 400 is probably what she said. I was like, oh, my God, if we have less than 40 likes, guys, I'm retiring. Shout out to Dr. Crimson's girlfriend. Guys, run it up. Let's get at least 550 tonight. If you somehow run it up to 1,000, I'll give away $200 in Solana. But 550. Let's run it up to at least 550, and maybe we'll give away some Frank. Actually, you know what we'll do here? If we run it up to 550, guys, I'll drop some. We have some Frankie Candles merch that we can give away, whether in the form of a Frankie Candles hat or some Frankie Candles t-shirts. We have some Frankie Candles University t-shirts. We also have some CandleMafia. I don't have the print here, but it's a pretty sweet CandleMafia t-shirt. If you guys want to check it out, you can go to the merch store. But yeah, we'll give away some of that if we get 550 likes on tonight's live stream. Let's see. Oh my God, we're running out of time actually. Yo, shout out to Off-Grid Carnivore. Let's go, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, volume profile has made me stacks when using on breakout flags that don't give pullback entries. Can predict when the flag will break out. Thank you, Frankie. Shout out to Off-Grid Carnivore. Let's go, baby. I like to hear that, bro. We're going to throw some money for you here. We're not going to reload the tab, but we are going to throw some money for you. I only got 20s here on the desk, but let's go. Bing bong. Shout out to Off-Grid Carnivore. Thank you for telling me that, bro. That makes me feel good. I'm going to sleep like a baby tonight knowing that we helped you out. But yes, absolutely, right? Like money flow and the volume profiles can definitely help you identify, especially if you have like a local range like this, right? Like let's say you go ahead and pull this volume profile, bada boom, bada bing, right? You start to look at this, right? Let's say you're looking at like more of a tangible time frame here. I'll look at like a 1 hour, right? It's like, well, hey, like if this breaks out, You have your money flow crossing over into the green, indicating the trend may continue to the upside. And, when you trade these volume profiles, guys, like one of the best things about trading the volume profiles is, not only does it give you many opportunities to enter a trade, whether you're looking at a macro profile or a local profile like I just had on the chart right here, you're going to be looking for longs at the lows, shorts at the highs. But if you're long from the low here, let's say you get a move to the value area high, you've taken profit at the POC and the value area high. If that is the case, right, you could hold that a portion of that trade if you see money flow like freshly crossing into the green on a significant time frame, or you are expecting a breakout to the upside. You could hold a portion of that trade for an absolute runner. Right, that's how we do it. Right, I let the grand slams and the home runs hit me by surprise, and then if it breaks to the downside, right, what are the chances of you being on a short position from the value area high? Well, very likely, because just because I look for a short at the value area high does not mean that I have to close my long from the low. Right, because if I'm looking for this to go from the, say, value area low to the POC to the value area high, right? I could take partial profit here, move my stop loss to break even. Obviously, you would not have gotten stopped out here. And then if that starts to run, right, you've already taken money off the table. You're starting to cook to the upside. If you could catch a short position on the deviation above the profile, I could even hold the long position with profits locked in, stop loss to break even, take a little scalp short position, and then it's like, well, hey, if this turns into a massive dump, not only will I stop out of the long and profit and make some money, but that short will continue to play out. So this is one of the things I love about the volume profiles, right? Like more often than not, when I long the absolute low or short the absolute high, typically I'm just looking at that in the context of the volume profile. It's like, hey, I want this to fill the profile in full. If I see signs on Market Cypher B indicating a bigger breakout to the upside or the downside, I will adjust accordingly. But if I think that's, eventually going to break out to higher prices, I don't have to guarantee it, right? I could just move my stop loss into profit or hold it at break even with profits locked in. That's a guaranteed winning trade. If I take a short up here and that short stops out for a small loss, just to visualize this a little bit for you guys, if I take a short up here off of some nice confirmation, and this stops out for a small loss, well, hey, I'm holding the long for much lower. It's going to continue to pay me out, right? So not only is it a small loss, but you're also it's just a hedge, right? And then on the flip side, if it just nukes to the downside, I'll stop out of the long and profit, and then you can have that short continue to play out. So more often than not, when you break up or down, you will be in a position from the high or the low of the range, even if you don't know which one's going to happen. More often than not, you will have an idea of what's more likely, but sometimes you don't. But that doesn't mean that you can't position yourself for the possibility. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Dan H. says, thanks. Hope to win a membership. You really have great content. Shout out to Dan. I appreciate you so much, bro. Thank you for being here. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're not subscribed, you're going to miss these live streams. You might miss the urgent market updates. And if you've been tuned in for a while, you guys know how close we've been to calling a lot of these moves. We're not even close, like how dead on some of these have been, right? Especially the macro moves. Like the macro swing moves are a little bit, I don't want to say they're easier to call, right? But they are, because the signals that you look at for these bigger moves are on higher time frames, they are typically stronger signals. And they just don't come around very often, right? The last time we had a very likely fulfill of this range as we were below the profile was all the way back here. Right, then you get back in, 2-day money flow crossover, massive move up. That's why I kind of like scream from the rooftops when it happens again, because like these opportunities don't come around very often. So yeah, check out the beginner series if you're new here, guys. It'll catch you up to everything you need to know about volume profiles. And yeah, let's see. Shout out to Woozy. Shout out to Woozy, man. Thank you for the super chat. Said Moodang doing damage. Shout out to Moodang. Or Moodang. I don't know how people say that. But let's take a look here. Well, what did you do damage? You did damage right through the volume profile. Let's go. So there you go. I just bring that a little more accurately to the actual levels here. Let me just adjust this. I'm not adjusting the levels. I'm just adjusting that box, guys. I'm not changing the levels here to make them more accurate at all. The white lines are there. But there's a perfect example. I mean, who said that? Shout out to Boozy, bro. And you can see here, right? Like, and again, I never want to make it seem like, like it's I know sometimes it could seem very easy, right? It's like, oh my God, get above this and go to the high. But you have to understand like the psychology that goes into this. It's like, all right, we hit here, you almost filled the range in full. You get back down below, hit your head. You hit your head. You hit your head. Oh my God, we're back in POC. Nope, back down. Back down. Oh my God, never mind. Back down. Oh my God. Oh, we front ran the POC. Back down. And then finally you get the fill of the range. And again, there are ways to identify where the high probability fill is rather than the fake outs, right? And that takes a little bit more time to learn. But I mean, there you go, right? If I had to say here, this is blue. So I guess we were looking at, last time we looked at Moodang was on the way to the downside. What is this fib? Take a look here. Yeah, that's an old fib as well. This is liquidations. Oh man, I wish I knew what we were looking at there. Oh, that was probably liquidations of this low. Okay, so we can get rid of that. But there's your volume profile. I have not looked at Mudang since back here, right? But you can see how the volume profiles are respected, right? This is why I always show the volume profiles like I invented them. I did not invent them. Other people trade these volume profiles, many different ways to trade them. But again, like just to call these moves is like, Mudang doing damage. Like you show it to me and I'm like, yes. People might say, oh my God, this happened or this happened. I just say you reclaim value area low and you fill the entire range. You almost tapped that value area high sitting at 24 cents. Very, very nice move. Taking a look at the 2-day, you got the 2-day money flow crossover for the early signal, right? And again, when I show you this, right, your 2-day money flow crossover happened over here. What happens? You have a high, a low, a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, right? The overall continuation of the trend would be to the upside. It doesn't mean that you can't get pullback, can't get pullback, can't get a pullback, but overall, the overall continuation to the upside would be the higher probability situation. And then you fill the range right into the value area high. I don't know how you can get it much more accurate than that. And it's like hilarious when you look back at these old volume profiles that we haven't looked at in forever. And it's like, oh, wow, boom, right? This caught me off surprise, right? We never look at Mudang. It's like, well, hey, look at that. Full respect on the volume profile. So there you go. Other than that, right, what would I look at here? I mean, these are pretty old levels, to be honest. This range, just to make sense of this, right, to show you how amazing this is. This range is pulled. It's not pulled from here. It's not pulled from here. It's pulled from literally just this price action right here. This little range back here gives you that beautiful, beautiful, beautiful respected volume profile all the way here. That was pulled all the way back in October 2024, right? Not even incorporating any of these other any of this other volume traded within these candles. Just this back here. Fully respected. I would argue, right, that like this probably would have been like a nicer range to look at. Could indicate a little bit more upside as well. But yeah, I mean, as far as the next moves to the upside, I would say, if we pull from the high all the way to the low here, yeah, I would watch this golden pocket 786 retracement. Sitting between 24 and 29 cents, almost 30 cents, right? This is a full golden pocket 786 retracement. So if you can break above this value area high, I would look to come in, into the golden pocket 786. And if I pull this range again, yeah, I mean, this is what I would look at. This would be the doorway to crack structure to the upside and potentially approach your upper volume profile, which I'll have to adjust here. Pull this all the way to the left, right? So I would pull this one as well. You have your value area low, POC, value area high. All right, and you can see, bounce off the high, rejection off the low, rejection off the low. You lose the range, massive drop to the downside. You reapproach. Range gets respected. You can see you've rejected this POC, back down to the value area low, back into the range. So I would say this, right? And look at the confluence there on your 786 and your value area low, which is also your doorway to higher prices. So I would say for sure, the doorway to higher prices sitting for sure at 30 cents. You break above the 786, number one, which invalidates the idea of your rejection at the golden pocket 786, right? And once you crack above this, not only would this be the indication to crack structure to the upside, but you're also breaking above your doorway to higher prices, which would indicate a move into the POC, which would also give you the crack of the high. Flip the POC, you can look for the bigger move up towards the value area high at 51 cents. Doesn't happen to happen today, doesn't have to happen tomorrow, but that would be the overall confirmations, right? Like break above here, that's your doorway. That's the invalidation of another massive, massive correction. Sure, you can get resistance, or you might even get resistance on the golden pocket, but at the end of the day, flip this, I'm looking up towards 34 cents. That's what I'd be looking at on Mudang. Again, 2-day money flow, looking very similar as well. All the same signals. Let's see. Shout out to Ashley Gates. Thank you so much for that super sticker. #1 fan. Let's go. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Ashley. Long time no see. She was also in the premium live stream. Shout out to Ashley. Let's go. Let's see. Shout out to Airwave says, different charts show different POCs, value area highs, value area lows. For example, the Solana Bybit chart compared to others show a higher POC and value area high. Yes, shout out to Airwave, a lot of people will ask me like, hey, I have a different POC. Why is that? Very likely it's because you're looking at a different pair than I typically look at for Bitcoin. I am almost always looking at the BTC USD Bybit chart. If you pull this, and I'll actually show you a perfect example of this, sometimes I look at both of them, right? So if I pull up a weekly time frame here, one of the very, very obvious examples of this are going to be, right, if I pull this macro volume profile over the 2021 bull market, your POC sits at about 47.5. If I pull this same profile, say on the Bitstamp chart, right, your POC is much different. Your POC sits at 34,000. So yes, 100%, that does happen. And yeah, if you have a question about that, please ask. But yes, you will get different POCs or value area levels based on the chart that you're looking at. And it doesn't mean that one will get respected and the other one won't. Very likely you will see both of these levels interact. And if you guys have been watching for a long time, you will know that mostly I'm looking at the Bybit POC. But at the end of the day, you know, you're going to hit that Bitstamp POC first, right? So if that Bybit POC is at 47,000, right, when you approach, right, let's say you come up, like you could still look at that Bitstamp POC as a key level, right? I don't do this with every volume profile. The only reason I did that for this case was because this was like a major, major bull market volume profile, right? And then when you look at it on different charts, right, they do separate a little bit differently, right? Or they pop up a little differently, right? So what was it, 34, right? So the way I would do that is I would label this as like, you know, Bitstamp POC, just to know that it is definitely a key level on the chart. And if we come down to a low enough time frame, you can actually see that there was I'm going to have to come up to a higher time frame. I'm getting lost here. I'm just going to have to go down like, come on. Come on. There we go, right? Like you could see that this indeed was a respected level. I paid a lot of attention to the Bybit chart, but, you know, you can see POC, little turbulence, POC, little turbulence, flip it to support, another retest of support, you break out. And then once you get above this POC, it's like, okay, well, hey, I have the Bybit POC all the way up here. And then we all know is where we had golden pocket confluence on the ETF approval for a big old 20% rejection down before the next leg up. So yes, 100%. Hopefully that helps you out. I only do that with like major profiles though. I don't do that like I'm not looking. You could. I'm not saying you can't. But I'm not looking at like this local range and saying like, oh, let me make sure I have the Bitstamp POC. Just for shizzies and giggies. Let's see here. Let me see how much different this is. Right. I do not do this. I just want to be very clear. So this POC is sitting at about, you know, call it 118.3. This one, $118K, right? So it is a little bit different. Doesn't mean that one's invalid and the other one isn't. But, you know, again, I'm not doing that for these local ranges. I only do it for like major levels. So there we go. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Dave Digital, said Golden is not rich. He starves himself so he can save his food stamps, then sells them to buy U.S. memberships. True story. Shout out to Dave Digital and Golden. Dave. It's a wild theory. Shout out to Dave Digital. Let's see. Shout out to Vexy, says, please advise me what to do with my long ETH position. I wait till 4,000, then close or close from now. Please answer. I don't know what to do. Shout out to Vexy. Unfortunately, you're going to hate this answer, bro. I cannot tell you what to do with your trades. I don't know the position size. I don't know your risk management strategy. I don't know why you entered, where your invalidation is. So it's I can't tell you what to do with. I'm also not a financial advisor. You have to make your own financial decisions. We did TA on Ethereum of what I would think is the highest likelihood of what my expectation for price action would be. But again, like I can't people ask me this all the time, like, hey, I'm long on this. You know, I could give you my idea of what I think price action is going to do, but I can't advise you on your trade. Number one, I can't do that. I'm not a financial advisor. And number two, this is I would need so much more information. Even if I were to give you like a hypothetical breakdown of that trade, I would need much more information than that. So yeah. I know you probably hate that answer, but unfortunately, I just can't advise you because I can't. I literally can't. I'm not a financial advisor. It's impossible. They didn't teach me that in crazy crypto YouTube school. Let's see. Golden is a fisherman from Alaska. Yo, Golden, they got some wild theories on you, bro. He fishes out of his private jet. That's how he catches so many. Let's see. Shout out to Mosh and said, can you analyze Trump? We actually already did. That's funny because no one really ever asked for that, and we never really look at it. But we actually did look at it today. So if you scrub back, you'll see that. Shout out to Eddie says, why are people on X saying that XRP is going to go to $589? This is the infamous XRP to $589, XRP to $10,000, XRP to $32,000. Guys, I am 100% fully not expecting that. This is it's a classic meme, right? This is based off the I really do hate to say that something is impossible. But this is based off of, like, the best thing I can do is point you towards the coinperspective.com. Go to the Coin Perspective, right? I will tell you this. I will make a statement right now. XRP will go to $589, and trust me when I tell you, nobody wants XRP to go to $589 more than I do. But you have to be realistic, right? This is how people wind up round-tripping their bags. If XRP goes to $589, actually, I'll say this. XRP can go to $589 if it has a $34.9 trillion market cap. Just to keep you aware, let's go ahead and do some stuff here. Hang on. Do I expect XRP to go to $589? Absolutely 100% not. This is based off the idea of, like, I don't know. I don't know the full argument, but it is pretty insane. And a lot of people say, like, market cap doesn't matter. I just don't buy that. But I will say that, right? Like, it can go to $589 if it had a, whatever it was, a 90-something, $34 trillion market cap. Is that likely to happen? Absolutely not. This is like one of those hopes. Like, XRP is obviously a big cult coin. Again, like, I hold XRP. I'm bullish on XRP. I think it's going to be a huge, huge, huge thing. But just calling for 1,000, even 10,000. Some people are looking for $10,000. Like, just do the math, right? If XRP was going to go to $10,000 or $32,000, it is literally more. That market cap would have to be more money that is the entire world's GDP. There's not enough money for that to actually happen. It's basically a meme. I hope it happens. I hope there's something I don't understand. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, but, like, he just doesn't get what we're looking at. It's like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I wish it would go there, but I just genuinely don't think it's going to happen. But just to keep you guys, like, a little bit grounded here, right? If you look at Bitcoin, the Bitcoin market cap is $2.3 trillion. Unless XRP goes to $39 trillion, it's not going to $589. That's the answer, right? You can come to the coinperspective.com and see how realistic this stuff is, right? $10,000, which is insane. And they think it's going to be like the flip of a switch. It's $10,000 XRP would be $591 trillion. Is that likely, guys? Probably not, right? I wouldn't even say probably not. I would say definitely not. So, yeah, I know. Can it go? Yes. If it's market cap's $591 trillion, if that somehow happens, you could see a $10,000 XRP. Is it expected? Absolutely not. Do I think it's going there? Absolutely not. Do I think it's happening this cycle? 100% not. But, for the sake of it, XRP to $589. And then next cycle, $10,000. Someone's going to clip that and be like, he's on the train. But yeah, you got to be realistic with this stuff, guys. So yeah, I hate to be the party pooper, but yeah, I'm just, I'm not holding I will hold my XRP for a very long time. But next time your friends tell you X coin will go to X, show them this website. Thank you, Tony. I don't have any connection to Coin Perspective. It's just a amazing tool that not a lot of people use and should use. Like, hey, man. Like, and especially if you're new, this is very important to realize. Learn about market cap, because if you're getting into crypto and a lot of your friends are getting into crypto, if you're here and you're new to the space, you got to be able to check people, right? It's like, hey, bro, buy this altcoin. I heard some YouTuber say it was going to go to $1,000, right? Put the market cap in. Maybe it's realistic, right? They might give you a realistic price target. It might be real, right? But more often than not, like, when you start putting market caps in there and prices, it's like, okay, well, this is literally, even if XRP flips Bitcoin, right? Let's say XRP flips Bitcoin and XRP's market cap, we'll just say Bitcoin 2.3. Let me just grab this, right? And I will just actually Coin Perspective is amazing, right? Because all you can do is like if XRP had Bitcoin's market cap, there we go. That would be a $39 XRP, right? So if you want XRP to go to $40, it literally needs Bitcoin's market cap. If XRP had Bitcoin's market cap of 2.3 trillion, one XRP would be worth $39. Is that realistic? I don't even think that's realistic, right? But let's just say like something crazy happens, right? Crazy stuff happens all the time. If XRP flips Bitcoin, that's still 39. That's nowhere near 589. Not even close. And I know a lot of people are going to hate that, but the people who don't round trip their bags will be very thankful that I said that. And I just can't sit up here and say that I think it's likely because definitely not. But yeah, anyway, unless there's something I don't know, which I'm totally open to thinking, right? As you guys know, I'm an agnostic investor. I'm an agnostic trader. If someone gave me plausible evidence, right, that was like, hey, dude, I get the market cap thing, but this is why it doesn't matter. Chances are they're not going to be able to convince me that that doesn't matter based off of what they say. But if they did, I am 100% flipping sides. I will look for a reason for XRP to go to $589. Trust me. But if it's not rational, it's not realistic, then, again, you don't want to round trip your bag. So just keep that in mind. But for the sake of excitement, XRP to $589. Let's go. Let's see. Can we do shout out to who was it? Shout out to the Fonz. Hey, shout out to you, man. He says, can you do Sonic money sign? I guess the ticker sign is S. Let's take a look. I don't know anything about this, so keep that in mind, but I will give you some key levels. So your next volume profile is very clearly sitting right here. So I'll just give you, I'm going to do this quick because we are running out of time here. We're already out of time, to be quite honest with you guys. But if we get a move up to this value area low, 45 cents, this is the big level to flip. You get above this, that gives you the opportunity to fill the volume profile. When we take a look at the daily, your money flow is technically trending in the right direction. You don't want to see this tank out in a major way. You want to see this kind of round off and continue into the green. So, yeah, I mean, I don't really I'll just give you, like, the long-term analysis. Daily money flow looks pretty decent. 2-day money flow is crossed over into the green. I don't know a lot about this, but I don't know anything about this, to be honest. But, yeah, I would say, 2-day money flow crossover, this is a lot. Again, I'm just going to go back to ETH. All right, this is kind of a similar situation, like money flow crossover. Does that mean you can't dump back down? Absolutely not. Does it mean that the trend is likely to continue to the upside? Yes. So when it comes to Sonic, dang it, where'd that chart go? Where'd it go? I do it over here. This is crazy. I have to organize. Oh wait, hang on. Was I looking at the no? Oh, I'll just draw another chart here. Oh, here it is. So yeah, I would say 2-day money flow crossover. Like, does it mean that you can't cool off? You totally can. But again, the overall continuation of the trend would be to the upside, in my opinion, especially if you reclaim this value area low at 45 cents. So watch that value area low at 45 cents. Watch this money flow crossover. 2-day red dot could give you more turbulence. It's very hard to say, if you're going to shoot up to here first and then cool off, or if you're going to cool off from here, put in the higher low, and then reclaim. But this is what I would look for. This is showing early warning signs of what a lot of the other alts that already got big moves up are doing. So I'll give you that. 45-cent value area low, flip that. 51-cent POC, flip that. 61-cent value area high. And then once you get above there, we can cross that bridge when we get there. Honorable mention, you do have a little bit of a value area right here, which probably was respected right here as well. Pull the fib from the high to the low. Whoops, missed the low a little bit there. So another major target to the upside would probably be 69 to 73 cents at the macro golden pocket, pulled from this lower high to the low. So again, long term, like this would be obviously your value area low, but it's also confluent with your golden pocket. But until before you start looking up there, let's get above 45 cents and push through this value area. 2-day money flow looks good. Just be careful of pullbacks. I would say the trend is more likely to continue up based off your 2-day money flow, like everything else on the charts. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Manny. Let's go. He said, what does the market cap on Bitcoin have to be to hit $1 million? Let's take a look. Let's take a quick look. All right. So Bitcoin, if Bitcoin was going to 19 trillion, 20 trillion, do I think that's impossible? No. Do I think it's going to happen this cycle? Probably not, right? But I do think long term. I mean, this is when you start to factor in like other money coming in from other asset classes as institutions, retirement funds, all these people start to make Bitcoin more available to the regular person, and obviously institutions buying it faster than it's being mined. It does make a lot of sense that you could eventually hit that $20 trillion mark for Bitcoin. When that happens is a little bit harder to call, obviously, but I don't think this is like irrational, right? Over time, I think that is very likely, right? I think you will see a $1 million Bitcoin at some point, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, whatever it is, right? Much more realistic than XRP to $10,000 with a $591 trillion. That's crazy. It makes no sense. But again, hopefully there's something I don't understand. And listen, if XRP goes to $10,000 or $589, and the other thing too that kind of makes me go against that is like, it's all about like this guy posted, he follows 589 people. It's like they know something's going to happen. If that's the case, I'm happy to be wrong, and I will put up a video that said I was wrong in like the most dramatic way possible, but literally I would be the happiest person alive because I own a lot of XRP, and if it goes to even $100, that would be insane. So yeah. The entire market cap isn't even 4 trillion and Bitcoin is 2.3 trillion. Yeah, shout out to Nev. That's why 500 and whatever it is, whatever that number market cap I just read for XRP is just like super unrealistic. Yeah, shout out to Seth, said don't sell your Bitcoin unless you really need to. Yeah, I mean, I would say, at this point especially, I think it's more acceptable than ever to say that, like, with big institutions coming in, it's like I think we've exited the Bitcoin is a scam kind of stage of this asset class. Low key, we've been saying it all the way since, for me personally, I got into crypto in 2016, right? We were able to see forward into the future all the way back here. Oh my God, it's a scam. Told you it was a scam. Oh my God, it went back up. It's a scam. Oh, okay, wait, hang on one second. BlackRock's buying, governments are buying. Oh my God, pro-crypto president. Like, the most validating thing in the world, guys. Like, when you've been getting called like an idiot and you're going to get scammed for so many years, and then finally, like, the big boys get in here. Pat yourself on the back if you've been a believer in crypto for so long. You were there before the real smart money, which is pretty wild. And it makes you wonder, right? Like, all those bearish news events, all these things. Oh my God, exchange is going down, or like, Bitcoin's gonna go to zero. Like, it's really crazy because you see a lot of these like big money guys talking about how like, I don't believe in Bitcoin at all. This thing's a scam. Like, I would never buy Bitcoin. It's like a lot of those people, like, those clips aged like milk. It's like they've totally flipped their stance. And the question is, did they truly not understand it, and then they realized that Bitcoin is literally the answer, or crypto is the answer, or were they just saying that because they were trying to slowly get positioned? I don't know. But it really is super. BlackRock owns 0 XRP. Yeah, no, I'm talking about Bitcoin. Shout out to Mark. Sell all the XRP. Shout out to Mark. People have told me that forever. My XRP bag is probably one of my biggest pumping bags right now. But again, I don't buy on the pumps, right? Like, I've owned my XRP for a very long time. So yeah, like, my average entry for XRP is like somewhere up in here, right? So, at the end of the day, I'm a trader, right? Like, I don't ever fall into like the cult mentality of a coin, like, this is the one, right? Like, I'm here to make money. If I think it's undervalued, I will buy it. If I think it's overvalued, I will sell it, and I will make money and I will walk away, which is more than 99% of people do in crypto. They just hold on, right? Like, a lot of people who truly believe in the $589 XRP is like, these people are going to hold on forever, right? And they're never going to take profit. Then it's going to get to 589, and they're going to be like, oh my God, now it's going to 1,000. Now it's going to 10,000, right? At some point, you got to pay yourself. You got to realize the profits and like live your life, right? So yeah, that's just my 2 cents. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Cryptic Crabman, said bad milk, put it in the freezer and call it ice cream. Shout out to Cryptic Crabman. But yeah, you know, there's always this sentiment of like, we're all going to make it. We're all going to make it. That is so far from the truth, right? We are not all going to make it. The people who hold their bags are genuinely not going to make it, right? The people who take profits and sell, right? Like, wag me, wag me, wag me, right? Like they say that. And eventually, yes, if you bought the top here, would you be in profit? Yes. But like, how much nicer would it be to like actually leave and understand you're going to get a big correction and then buy back more in the bottom, right? And you know, people who want to hold Bitcoin and hold it long term, I'm there for it, right? It's like, hey, if you want to buy Bitcoin, hold it for 10 years, ignore the bear markets, right? It's probably just going to put in higher lows and higher highs like it has in the past every single time. But when it comes to altcoins, like the wag me thing is like pretty, you know, they just want you to hold it so they can dump on you, right? Usually it's like the developers or whatever, like the whole community is like, we're all going to make it, we're all going to make it, right? But if the bear market comes, you're not going to make it for that amount of time, right? And you might as well just like take your profits if you're up, and then if you really believe in the project, buy more at the bottom rather than just like hold on and then wonder why you're down 85%. It's a time. It's a tale as old as time in crypto. Let's see. Shout out to Eugene Sky, says Sol breaking out of W on the weekly. Shout out to Eugene Sky. Yes, we covered Solana just on the way to our target, right? We've looked at this for quite some time, right? We're back in the value area. This was the measured technical target of this little head and shoulders that we were looking at down here. 2-day money flow indicated that we would not get the lower high, and the 786 would be the doorway to higher prices. And now we are sitting here, again, like eerily close to the measured technical target here on Solana, right? Bring it to your breakout. Just about there. This is exactly where we expected Solana to be. As long as we can hold above this value area low, I'd say 216 all the way up to about 225 would be the next target, in my opinion. And long term, right, obviously you can get turbulence, right? Maybe you get a little rejection at the Golden Pocket PLC, but at the end of the day, we are going to be looking for that fulfill the range up at 238.07. So there you go. Yes, but if you scrub back, shout out to, who said it? Who said it? Eugene. Yeah, just scrub back. We did all the TA on Solana. But yeah, just tracking with exactly what we look for. Let's see. Shout out to Crypto Owl, says the greatest. Shout out to Crypto Owl. But guys, with all that being said, we went super long today. 8 o'clock. Dang, we don't know. We don't oftentimes end the streams at 8 o'clock. But we got dove deep into the charts, and we had a lot of sauce to dish. So yeah, keep an eye on Bitcoin, guys. Just be careful of that bigger correction. If we do get it, you guys have all the key levels that I'm looking at. You guys have my full trading plan. You guys know exactly what I'm doing here. I'm holding my longs from lower. I'm in the little scalp long here, which I don't expect much out of, but I did want to take a shot here with a small stop loss. So we'll see what happens. And if we get those bigger retracements to the downside, just keep an eye on those key levels of support we've been looking at, and I will keep you guys updated here tomorrow. Same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If something really crazy happens, maybe we'll do a day live stream or a market update. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. You turn on notifications so you don't miss that and you don't miss the next move, whether it's up or down, so you can make some money trading Bitcoin. That's all I got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time. You know the rest. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Space shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
we forgot to take a look at Render. Well, here we are, guys. We actually looked at Render, obviously, last week as we were tapping on the doorway to higher prices here at the value area low at 428. Hold above this value area low, guys. We're back above that anchored VWAP as well. You can see we broke above it, held it as support, and then got that flip of the value area low perfectly. I would say right now, value area low is your biggest key level locally. Hold this as support. What are we going to be looking for? We're going to be looking for that continuation up into the golden pocket, 786 retracement with the POC right on that 786. 2-day money flow crossover is, I'm not going to update all this. All looks the same. 2-day money flow crossover. Again, if you get a pullback, higher lows and higher highs are more likely. This is the longer-term expectation for Render. And again, we looked at this last week on Friday as we were tapping into that value area low, looking for the break. And as long as we stay above here, guys, could be a pretty nice move for Render here up to the value area high eventually at about 933. But when you take a look at the 3-day red dot looking to print, the 2-day red dot looking to print, expect some kind of turbulence potentially. But again, if we lose this value area low, even then, right, you still have room to come in and put in a higher low and then finally reapproach the value area low for that full fill. But this looks the same as every other altcoin as far as market cipher goes. Value area low 427, POC, golden pocket 786 confluence, 652 to 771. Flip that to support, look up towards about 933 at the value area high. And then once you get up there, we can start to target some predictions to the upside. But that's what I'm looking at on Render. And with all that being said, that's all the time I actually have for tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys here tomorrow, same place, same time. If we didn't look at your altcoin today, obviously it's impossible to look at every altcoin. I don't know. I'm actually considering potentially, I don't know. But if we didn't take a look at your altcoin, we'll try to take a look at it tomorrow. But with all that being said, that's all the time I got for tonight's live stream. I'll see you guys tomorrow. It's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out.